to DCU Daily. Here we are, we're back. We apologize for the delay, but we're here, and we're here to talk about all sorts of wonderful things in regards to the world of pop culture, in addition to DC, as well as a Tier List Tuesday. We will be doing that today, so don't you worry. But here we are, and let's have some fun. First things first, we are going to talk about, in the news, Apple TV's press day. We're talking about a whole bunch of shows and movies that have been that are going to be happening, that are greenlit, happening, getting trailers, getting clips shown, all that kind of stuff, as well as updates in regards to what they have for the impending future. Then we have, of course, MCU Weekly. We have a ton of Doomsday rumors to talk about, because of course we do. And then if Marvel is going to be appearing in the Super Bowl. Gotta see if that's definitely happening or not. And then a couple of Marvel quick hits in regards to, you know, we got Daredevil, Born Again, some Marvel, some Hulk stuff, and some Wonder Man stuff. Then MovieTalk Madness. Apparently we are getting a new CEO for Disney, and we'll talk about that when we get there. And then, of course, a couple more things in regards to trailers and Steven Spielberg being one of the many GOATs and finally achieving EGOT status, albeit with technicalities, but that's okay. Then we have our quick hits, and then we have DC News, just talking about a whole bunch of comics and popcorn buckets and lots of Snyder posting on Instagram, because of course we have to talk about that. And then and then we have a little bit of Supergirl news to talk about in regards to her appearance at the Super Bowl, or is it going to be the Puppy Bowl again this year? But of course, all of that and more after this wonderful little intro. So let's jump right in.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Cole's.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Hello everyone, welcome to the news portion of our wonderful show. I'm of course your host John. Lovely to see all the people coming into the chat. We have all the wonderful little people. We got Caleb Underwood is in the chat. Phil Melogia is in the chat. Ron is of course first in the chat. We gotta, you know, because of course you had to say first. What the hell is this? Come on, guys. Elite ECE, right, dude? Thanks so much for your wonderful comments in the chat. Hunter Iggy as well. We're going to be getting into that when we hit DCU Daily. Don't you worry. And Movie Spud coming in right when we are doing the intro. So, hello. Welcome all to this wonderful DCU Daily. And then, of course, I am not alone. I am joined by Dan. Dan, how are you doing today? Despite everything, you doing okay? You're muted.
Sorry. See, yeah, no, all things considered, doing okay. Well, you know, relatively speaking. Well, we'll talk about it. I did want to also mention D. Cole is here, and give him a shout out. And somebody called the best sandwich maker. We didn't really talk about him all that much, because, yeah, we have had sandwiches before we started the show. Although I have a couple of croissants.
I did. I actually
nearby.
had Jersey Mike's. I was craving it, and I wasn't feeling great all day, so I was like, you know what, I need something to make me feel good. And food usually makes me feel good. Fast food makes me feel good, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Caleb, for your well wishes, and for everybody who posted on, because we put up a post yesterday on the channel about what happened over the weekend. So I'm not gonna take too much time talking about it here because that's still, kind of like feels like an open nerve, like a little raw. So I'm sure Yash wants some beef. He always wants beef. But as I was talking about, I wanted to kind of take a moment and mention our we channel mascot, our favorite corgi, the cutest doggy in the world. And yeah, Zelda passed over the weekend. She crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and I mean, Fiona and I are just devastated at this, just friends, family, everybody, and everybody who knew her and you met her. It was it was shocking that things took a turn for the worse as quickly as they did. She had been doing a little bit better in recent weeks, but then if you guys don't know the context, Zelda had we found out that she had a cancerous brain tumor last year, and that was like after a few months of trying to figure out what was going on because they couldn't really figure it out. Then they did some scans, did some blood tests, and they finally saw that. We had Fiona made the decision, because Zelda was her baby, and I sort of just but once I started but since I've been with Fiona for the last couple of years, Zelda just kind of became like my favorite. Like, I've never really loved a dog the way that I love Zelda. So yeah, we made the decision to just to go through a surgery, and Zelda came out of it with much better than we expected. But then after that we found out that the tumor was cancerous, so we would need to do some more scans, and then just try to like keep up with it, because it wasn't something where once you remove it, it stopped growing. So they did some radiation, and that didn't go well. So but the holiday season we got to spend a lot of time with her, and she was feeling better. She was still on a lot of meds, for to keep the inflammation down, and then there was anti-seizure medications and stuff. So there was a lot that was going on, and you can imagine, like, for a human, just like for like if I were to be going through something like that, that would just like be a lot. But like for a little corgi, it's so yeah, she was a fighter. But yeah, it's the seizures just kind of took took a turn for the worse over the weekend, and just kind of making a decision for Zelda's, into just the suffering that she was in. It's like, would she be able to have a quality of life where she wasn't always in pain? Because every time she would come out of a seizure, she's confused. They would have to sedate her, and so yeah, she passed over the weekend. Just a terrible loss, as you can imagine. And thank you, Monique, for your kind words, and thank you, Hosea. And well, Hunter, I don't know if we're gonna get another. We would have to, first sort of grieve for, Zelda right there. Like, look at her. She was like, and this is after the surgery. You could see they had to like shave off a bunch of her hair to like make an incision for the surgery, and then with the meds, like it never quite all grew back. But she was, just the cutest corgi. I'm so glad, Monique, that you have Balboa with you, and Hosea, you've lost. Is that, do you say that as cows? But yeah, that's just yeah. Yeah, and grief is a funny thing. So yeah, well, we'll take time, and there's moments that you feel better, and then there's times when you're reminded of her, of Zelda, just. And yeah, like she used to be here, she used to hang out, and I still have her toys. And different people grieve differently. Like, I haven't quite gotten rid of everything just yet, like I'm still sitting with that. So, but yeah, I did get a couple of kittens recently, so that they were around the apartment, and so that's helped, Georgie and Cricket. So you might see them in the future. But actually Georgie is sitting in the living room right now. So Chaos with a K. Thank you, Hosea, for that. Yeah. Yeah, Decole, thank you. Rest in peace, and across the rainbow bridge goes Zelda. She's probably giving hugs and kisses, and just making everybody's day out up in heaven, or wherever her soul currently is, and I'm sure she's just being her very best. So I will always miss her, and if you haven't already, just I think Fiona has her YouTube channel, FionaC.art. You can go send her a quick little note of best wishes, because she can really use it right now too. And we're just all trying to take it one day at a time. And so that's part of the reason why we're a little late starting today, because it's like when it's so raw still, it's harder to get up to do things. And so I'll be honest, that's been part of it. But it's also, this podcast has gotten me over the years, and I'm sure some of you guys through a lot of difficult times. And if it has, then I'm glad that this is what it's been able to do for you. But for me, doing this is always, it's a good way. Like, when we go to the movies, it's a way for us to sort of not, get away from our problems, but to, sort of just find a way to smile, or like have that sense of release. And that's what we're gonna try to do today, at least for me. I know that we still have a lot of DC stuff. We have Marvel news, we have a lot of trailer reactions, and then the Apple TV stuff, everything John mentioned. But I just wanted to kind of say, sending, I hope you guys are sending. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of at a loss for words now, but yeah, I love Zelda, and I know you guys all love Zelda, and we will all miss her. I miss her. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's that. I feel like if I could I could just keep talking, and not words are not enough, I'll see if I can put together more of a slideshow or something of photos, so you can see more of Zelda Bub. I'm sure you guys remember, she's been on the show, she'd be on my lap, and she'd be getting all the kisses, and yeah, so I just will always miss that, so yeah.
But yeah, ooh, dang. But yeah,
thank you, buddy. I do appreciate it.
Just wanted to let you talk. That's why I kind of absconded a little bit. But yeah, never easy. I've lost 3. It doesn't get any easier. But it happens. It's the natural course of life, and however you deal with it is your prerogative. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, first Catherine O'Hara, now Zelda. Oh, buddy, this is.
Yeah, it was a really rough week. I did watch
rough. Joke, rough. Smile, a laugh. That helps. Laughter's the best medicine.
Yeah. Also, I watched Wonder Man. I watched all of Wonder Man over the weekend because I was just sort of. There's times when you're just trying to, like, again, like I said, like movies and TVs, these stories that we love. Like, one of the big things about, I think the transformative value of them is always you're able to sort of find escape. And it's not like I'm trying to get away from the grief, but it's, it was nice. And Wonder Man was, we will talk about it later too, but I'll just say very quickly, Wonder Man is probably the best MCU show I've ever seen. And that might be a little bit of recency bias, but even then, I will say objectively, it's on par with WandaVision and Miss Marvel, and like the MCU needs more of that now. So yeah, and it's completely amazing. But
and Marvel tried to bury it. Go figure.
I don't know if they would say they would try to bury it. I mean, like, it's. Whatever their strategy was, or whether, because the thing is, it's not the kind of show where you're going to be spec theory. By the way, I do see the change in routine, Monique, definitely, and that Fiona's feeling that even more than I am about Zelda, because just waking up in the morning and sort of going to bed at night, you're missing somebody, and I would always be sleeping on the edge of the bed because Zelda would like plop out sideways, and so we were trying to sleep this way, and then she's this way, and so like. One person, usually me. So I'll miss that part, even though it was like in the moment you're like, oh man, I'm like sleeping on my side on the edge of the bed. But Joe's the cutest thing because you get to cuddle up with her. So I'll always miss that. And again, I did want to say D. Cole, yeah. Sorry about your loss. It's been a couple of years now, or almost a couple of years, 2024. But sorry for Chloe, and I'm sure she's in a better place now. Yeah, corgi dogs, big energy dogs. But yeah, John, I would Wonder Man isn't the kind of show that maybe they released it all together, because if you did it weekly, then yeah, it wasn't the kind of show where you'd be building a ton of buzz, like theory, baiting and stuff. So, but I'll mention it later. I'll just say it was a welcome reprieve from other things that were going on in or are still going on in my life. So and it couldn't have come at a better time. It's like, during the pandemic, I mean, not to a lesser degree, but like when Ted Lasso came out during the pandemic and everybody was like, man, this is like what the world needs right now. And there's another season of Ted Lasso coming out this year, and For All Mankind is coming. We'll talk about that in a moment, John. But thank you, right, dude, for your condolences. But yeah, speaking of For All Mankind, John, Apple TV did that whole. So today, Apple TV held a huge event where they were announcing all of their shows and movies that are set to come out this year. Like Netflix does their To Doom thing every year. So Apple TV is sort of just, I don't know if they've really done this much since like the launch year when they first launched Apple TV, but at the time it was Apple TV Plus. They did it in like the hangar in Santa Barbara where like the Critics' Choice Awards, MTV, VMAs have happened before. So it's it's not like a theater like traditional Apple events, but they had like a 360-degree like big screen there. And I mean, we got to talk about all the things they announced there, John, because that's really where we'll start with the 2026 film and TV slate that Apple TV rolled out. And it was a press day, so most of the people present were, journalists. But there was trailers. They started with the Monarch Legacy of Monsters look at the new season. I saw the trailer. It looks pretty cool.
That just I plan to watch that because it looks really good.
I mean, it's got Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell playing the same character like 50, 60 years apart, I think.
Right.
Because you can imagine one playing the younger version, the other playing the older version of the same character. Oh, hello, Brogu. Brogu's here.
Brogu, now all is right in the world.
Welcome on in. Okay, so we're talking about the Apple press event today. John, let's kind of, if you can scroll down, there's like a list in this article and Deadline of everything that they showcase, and then we'll talk about some of the bigger ones. I mean, we'll talk about most of them really, but yeah, sup Afro Samurai, that is Brogu, of course. But they talked about the movies and TV shows coming out on Apple TV this year, so it doesn't include anything they're putting out in theaters. So they talked about I mean, some of these are like, for example, Eternity. Remember that Eternity movie that's sort of
Yes.
I forget, is it the one with Elizabeth Olsen,
Callum
Turner, and then Miles Teller?
Yes.
Where
it's kind of like
Elizabeth Olsen
Defending
was-
Your Life with Albert Brooks.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that movie, but it's like
very
that.
yes. It's I missed it in theaters, but I really want to see it because it seems like a very different way. Well, like very orthodox way of looking at like a rom-com like love triangle. I know you say it's like technically not a love triangle, but like situation. But Eternity is coming out on Apple TV on February 13th. It was in theaters last year. The Last Thing You Told Me, season 2, February 20th of this year. So that's coming out in a couple of weeks' time. And then, on 27th of February, so a week after The Last Thing He Told Me drops, season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters comes out. Then in March, you have Imperfect Woman on March 18th. That's a TV series. For All Mankind, John. Hi, Bob. Season 5. Dude, it's like, if I'm feeling the way I'm feeling right now, I can only imagine what Ed Baldwin feels at the end of every season of that show.
I'm just waiting who's gonna fucking bite the bullet at the end of season 4. Obviously no spoilers, but somebody's gotta fucking die. Or somebody's gotta get like nuked or put into a coma or something. Something's gotta give. Something's gonna happen.
It's like, and it has to be somebody that Ed Baldwin like is close with or
I know
loves.
it's not Kelly, because she was in the trailer for season 5, so
Oh
You know.
wait, you're not caught up yet. Okay, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. I was thinking more about who's gonna bite the bullet in season 5, but
Oh,
because that
okay.
seems to be the theme. Um, don't look in the chat. For All Mankind season 5, March 27th. Caleb, is that never mind. I'm not gonna talk about it. Caleb might have put up a spoiler in the
I'm not.
chat.
I'm not looking at the chat right
Um,
now. I'm gonna
so in
disclose
April,
that.
Your Friends and Neighbors, yeah, season 2, which is I think the John Hamm show, that drops in April, on April 3rd, season 2. Season 1 was a underrated hit, and just not talked about everywhere, but a lot of people who watched it loved it. Outcome, which we'll talk about in a bit, April 10th comes out. That's a movie. Margot's Got Money Troubles. That's an Elle Fanning TV
Yes.
show on April 15th.
Yes, I am aware of that one.
Then Criminal Record season 2 comes out April 22nd. Then Widow's Bay April 29th. So that's just a high level overview. John, now let's go down a little bit more. We have a few more in the list. Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, May 20th TV series. We're not going to talk about it too much, but the title is very interesting. June, Cape Fear, that's a TV show. Then Sugar season 2 comes out. Lucky, July 15th is a TV series. Then The Dink, just the name alone, I'm gonna watch that on July 24th. The Dink. If you scroll down further, I think we have the rest of the calendar. Coming summer 2026, Ted Lasso season 4. They didn't give it an exact date, but we are
Man,
all
Apple
waiting for
just
that.
wants to keep doing fucking
So-
car movies. They got Matchbox. What's next? Hot Wheels. Like, come on.
John Cena is the lead in the Matchbox the movie, October 9th. Hello, Steven. Way of the Warrior Kid, November 20th. And then of course in September you got a Mayday movie coming out. So and that's just overall they don't have really any big things currently in December or anything new really that was of note. So but that's the high level overview. So if any of those names stood out to you, we'll go through some of the big ones. Ted Lasso season 4, we talked about it, I think last week. So we're not going to talk about it too much here. We know season 4 comes out in summer 2026. So that could be anywhere from July to September, I guess. But yeah, well, you could say Disney has a tism for cars. I bet they're still making more Cars movies. And those Cars movies, there might as well be plane, trains, and automobiles because they're not just cars anymore. There's like choppers in there. There's planes. There's literally trains. Like I said, it could be planes, trains, automobiles by Pixar. Um, yes, I am watching. I know Caleb is a Seahawks fan, Steven, and I know you probably might be too because I think you're on the West Coast, if I remember correctly. I'm going to be cheering for the New England Patriots, which I know John is not going to be, but because John is a Giants fan, so which is fair.
You're no longer a threat to us anymore. It doesn't even matter.
A threat to you. I should be saying that. I could say the same about the Giants are no longer a threat to the Patriots.
I mean, like, we beat you twice. What, do we need to beat you like a third time? You're
Okay.
no longer on our radar
Count the banners.
anymore.
Count the banners, John. That's how many we got hanging in our stadium. Sorry, I know the Pats are like, it's very polarizing, but anyway. And I apologize if I've offended
Go
you.
Birds. But the correct Birds. Fuck the Eagles, but go Birds.
No, I agree on that sentiment. I do agree on that. Anyway, let's talk about some of these shows and movies that mentioned here at the Apple event. So F1, of course, everybody wanted to know. Now this wasn't confirmed, but it was teased that they might be working on a sequel. So they were taking it. So Apple's SVP of Services, Eddie Q. He was doing the Q&A. I mean, if you actually scroll up a little bit, I think because there's a quote a little higher up. And they were basically what they also have, because remember guys, the context here is Apple just got the rights to Formula One in the US. So starting this year, when the Formula One season kicks off, they will be broadcasting all Formula One events on Apple TV. So they're doubling down on this. Now, the Formula One CEO, Stefano Domenicali, I think I said that right, he responded to the question about, are we getting a sequel with like a stay tuned? And then he went on to elaborate saying, we're going to tell you something more in the future. We need to digest the success of this movie. And if you think of a new one, it has to be very good. So they're, taking their time. I mean, John, your reaction to this, because we know F1 now has 4 Oscar nominations, and yeah. I would love to see a sequel, by the way. And you know what? We will be talking a lot about the Puppy Bowl later, Monique, definitely. And I watched the Puppy Bowl last year for the Superman preview. The Puppy Bowl was fun. The Superman preview was a little disappointing. We'll talk about that more later. And hello, Enterprising in the chat. Uh, I mean, John, F1 was one of the top 10 highest grossing movies, a cultural event last year, and really the first true box office hit for Apple, even though it probably didn't make a ton of money at the end of the day theatrically because of how much money they put into making it. The one thing I will say is the CEO of F1 talking about they're working on it, they're thinking about it, and they really want to make it good. If you look at the behind the scenes of the F1 movie from last year, they spent like 2-3 years filming it. It was across multiple F1 seasons. So I can imagine if the green light one this year, which would be my guess, then we shouldn't expect another one for another 2-3 years. So just gonna put that out there if you guys, I mean, just let's kind of temper our expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
But
And I think Joseph Kosinski is also pretty busy. He's doing isn't he doing like a UFO movie or something?
he is, yeah,
I
that's
think
his
he's
next
doing
thing,
that.
which is
I
also
think
for Apple, by the way.
He's
I
also
think, yeah.
doing a remake of Miami Vice. So
That's
he's
right.
he's a busy man. So
He's busy. He's busy. Everybody's doing a UFO movie these days.
I mean,
all of a sudden,
when
UFO
Spielberg goes
movies,
back to it, you're like, all right, we have
time.
competition now.
Yes. When the goat. Okay, we'll talk about the goat later. But let's keep on going with the Apple news. So not only were they teasing F1, we talked about the one of the movies coming out this year is going to be Way of the Warrior Kid, which is going to be starring, of course, Chris Pratt. We got a first look at that and a global debut date. This, of course, is coming from Skydance Media, so their work in collaboration with Apple Original Films. So again, David Ellis and Skydance Media is based on a novel alongside, of course, Chris Pratt. You've got Linda Cardellini and Jude Hill. John, your thoughts on this?
Seems interesting. Looks like a typical like Karate Kid, Rocky story. So
Nice.
I like McG. I know he's not the greatest director ever, but he does some good work.
I'm interested in seeing it. I mean, the novel by Jocko Willink sounds the premise sounds interesting. I haven't read the novel, but I'm like, I'll watch the movie and then maybe I'll find my way to the novel after. I mean, Chris Pratt again gets probably more hate than he deserves. Like, he's genuinely probably the most successful Marvel, leading man outside of the MCU. In so many ways. We had talked about this last week. Thank you, Stephen, for your condolences. I do really appreciate that. But let's keep on going. By the way, Monique is making me hungry all over again. Pigs in blankets and onion. Oh man, I'm gonna need to eat something soon. Thank you, Monique, for sharing that. Ryan Reynolds' buddy comedy Mayday from Apple got a September release date. We talked about that a moment ago, John. Your thoughts on this? Ryan Reynolds' buddy comedy?
Sure. Okay.
All right. Hello, M2G. How are you doing? Let's keep on rolling. An unrecognizable Jonah. Oh, dude, did you see this? Jonah Hill. That's Jonah Hill on the right. I thought that
that's
was
what I said. You didn't believe me.
I didn't know.
Like, that's him.
I was like, is that Stanley Tucci? Maybe John Malkovich or one of the because I saw the Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer. I was like, but that's awesome. Enterprising, by the way. It is Black History Month, and I'm sure we'll have more news about that later. But yeah, there's this Keanu Reeves return to the screen thing. They got Cameron Diaz. It's a dark comedy. It premieres on Apple TV April 10th. It's a TV show. Holy cow, that is Jonah Hill. Wow. Yeah, John, I'm gonna watch this just to see Jonah Hill, and I mean we mean that in the most positive way possible. You just wouldn't think that's him. I mean, he's also got like a beard. Like he's meant to play someone older, and I'm sure that's like a ball cap, unless he just shaved it all off for this. It kind of looks like an episode of The Studio almost. If you watch that show, or like Wonder Man now too. But anyway, let's keep on going. That's a TV show, by the way. Outcome.
No,
actually, no, that's a movie. That's a movie. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
This is a show,
this is a TV show.
I'm very curious about, considering Martin Scorsese directed the remake in the 90s. So it's interesting that this is getting remade again. I feel like, each of the people in this movie are probably almost perfectly cast. You have Patrick Wilson as
sure. It's a limited series. Yeah.
The lawyer who put him away. Javier Bardem's the bad guy, and then Amy Adams is wife. So,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll go as extreme as the 90s one did, but from what I've heard at least, so because that movie went very extreme with what they did with in that film. So I'm curious how this will go. I'd watch it. I don't know if it needs 10 episodes, but like I'm sure it'll be very good with the with what who is involved. So yeah.
I mean, look, Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese are producers on this. I mean, it doesn't mean like they're doing day-to-day showrunning work on it, but that's, I mean, 10 episode series, Javier Bardem, Patrick Wilson, Amy Adams, John. It's you're just throwing names at me, but I'm at some point you're like, okay, fine, I'll see it, because
Yeah.
there's no shortage of talent and award-winning talent
I mean,
here.
I haven't read the book. I've seen a little bit of the original film with Gregory Peck and Robert
Yeah.
Mitchum. I've seen a little bit of the remake with Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte. So I'd probably watch those first and then watch this to compare and contrast. So
The Departed, one of the best Scorsese movies.
are you a cop? Are you a cop?
I'm the one. I'm the one doing my job. You must be the other guy. Fucking cocksuckers. Anyway, that's the Matt Damon impression I'll do for the night. Hey, figure drawing. Let's keep on going. We got a
Why
few
are
more
you
announcements.
fucking going like for fucking Spielberg? The fuck's wrong with you? Anyway, and John Cena is on the run as undercover CIA agent in Mattel-inspired Matchbox. What the fuck is- Apple TV
You couldn't
released the
even
first
finish the
images of Sam
headline.
Hargrave's action are based on Mattel's iconic toys. Yeah, because that's what I think. When I think of Matchbox, I think of undercover CIA agents played by John Cena. Like,
Who's running? Yeah, I know, right? There's just a bunch of cars, Caleb. There's nobody there. It's that's true. I don't see anybody. By the way, Marky Mark was horridly miscast in The Departed, but he's the only one who got a Best Supporting Actor nominee at the Oscars that year. So just letting you guys know. Whatever you say about the Marky Mark in The Departed.
well, Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't get nominated for The Departed because he got nominated for Blood Diamonds. So, which I don't think was as good of a performance, but that's just me.
But yeah, well, Leo got his eventually. But hey, there you go. There's your first look. Sam Hargrave directing a Mattel. It's another Mattel-based
You're
movie.
just lying, bro. You're just fucking lying. So you haven't seen any Spielberg movie? That's what I'm saying. You just haven't seen any Spielberg movie since Duel. That's just the only Spielberg movie you've seen.
I don't even know. That's the one movie that I haven't. When did Duel come out? Like, what is
Duel was like 1974.
Oh, was that like his first?
That was
film?
like a TV movie. That was like his first real movie, and it is a great movie. Like it's like for a TV movie. So, well, the way you made it sound was that that was in terms of like chronological release date, like fucking like E.T. and Close Encounters. Fuck those movies. Duel was the last.
Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. Come on, just come on. It's Steven Spielberg is, I think, like I agree with Caleb.
I don't think
he is
objectively
the best.
All right, like come on.
It's a subjective opinion, but
like right there, bro. Like that man
mean,
never missed either.
Yeah.
So
there's also like I mean it's we will do a tier list one. I think we did a tier list, but didn't we do like a
no? We tried to put. Well, here's the thing: we put it in the poll. Nobody fucking voted for it. It was for his birthday, and it was for when Disclosure Day the trailer got released. We're like,
when the movie
cool,
comes out, maybe
and fucking nobody voted for it. So that's on you, assholes. So go fuck yourselves. I'm the guy doing his fucking job. You must be the other guy. God damn.
Well, speaking of the other guy, you got John Cena, Jessica Biel, Sam Richardson, Tiana Paris, hot on the awards season trail.
Caleb,
and Arturo
I'm
Castro
gonna fucking ban you like real fucking quickly. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say a fucking hot take right now. You ready for hot take debate? Not one single Spielberg movie is better than one Kurosawa movie. Seven Samurai beats Spielberg's entire filmography. There, I fucking said it. Suck my dick. Okay, how about that? Go fuck yourselves. Get out of here with that shit. I love Spielberg. Great director. Seven Samurai beats Spielberg's entire filmography.
Now you got figure drawing on your side.
I got figure drawing on my. All right, thanks. I appreciate it. But like, it's like not even close. Like, what's Spielberg's best movie? Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, it's not. No, Seven Samurai is better.
I don't. I'm gonna stay on the fence on this for now.
Although I
'Cause
will
feel
say,
like
Throne of Blood, great adaptation of Macbeth. I haven't seen Dreams yet. I have High and Low. I haven't seen that. And then I saw one other movie. I think there was one other one I saw of his, but I'm blanking on.
I'm
the
sure
name
you
of
didn't
it.
see the Spike Lee remake that was on Apple TV last year.
No, I
Highest
did
to
not
Lowest.
watch that. Although I have heard good things. Like I heard mixed to positive. So, you know. But ooh, that's a hot take. Oh, I saw Yojimbo. That was the other one. Which, by the way,
Nice.
another hot take. Yojimbo is better than A Fistful of Dollars. Boom. There we go. And don't get me
And
wrong.
that's
For a few
okay.
dollars more and Good, the Bad, the Ugly, better. However, Yojimbo is better than Fistful of Dollars. But that's just me. Anyway.
Got it. Okay,
Why are we
let's
still
move
talking
on.
about this?
Well, we're not talking
Anyway.
about Matchbox. Margot's got money troubles. We got a teaser from Elle Fanning's character based drama here. This is another TV show on Apple TV coming out this year. Michelle Pfeiffer as or Mikhail Pfeiffer as Eminem would say, and Nick Offerman and Nicole Kidman. Again, just big A-list names all across the board. That's what Apple's all about. Yeah, let's keep on going. I'm excited about this. This looks interesting.
I will say this. There is like a point in Spielberg's career when he's not as I would say in terms of classic Spielberg movies that were some of the greatest. Saving Private Ryan was probably his last or one of his last. Not saying he didn't make great movies. Since then I liked Fabelmans as well as a couple other movies. I know Munich is considered a great one of his. I know that got nominated for Best Picture one year. But I will say, from Saving Private Ryan on, it's not as good as from Duel to Saving Private Ryan. It's two very different Spielbergs, but I don't think they're bad. However, I would say modern Spielberg is probably, that's not true, slightly weaker than Spielberg in his prime. That's what I'm not gonna, Unforgiven is a very different type of Western. It's honestly, it's apples and oranges, but I would say Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That's an experience. Unforgiven is a phenomenal movie, but Good, the Bad, the Ugly, if I had to pick, even though it's very different movies, Good, the Bad, the Ugly is the better movie. But that's just me. Anyway. I'd watch this, by the way. I do like Elle Fanning. This, it's kind of, I feel like this is the female Breaking Bad. It's just someone willing to do anything and everything for money. I don't know, it's kind of got that vibe a little bit. Not as good, but but yeah. Known finally, Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. Godzilla
we'll see how it
and Kong
turns out.
versus
Yeah.
Titan X. That remember Titan X? No, well, neither does the rest of the world, but they're bringing that shit back.
It's also the continuity of how this ties into the movies is probably very flimsy at best, but yeah. So the trailer, this is a full trailer. They put out a teaser not that long ago. We talked about it. Of course.
Yes, I think Elle Fanning. I think you're thinking of Neon Demon. I think that's what it was.
Yep, she was in there. Okay, so Godzilla and Kong are going to be facing off against Titan X. Essentially, the idea is, if there's anybody that can defeat this thing, it's going to be Godzilla and Kong. So they go to Skull Island, and the present day version of I think it's the Lee Shaw character is played by Kurt Russell, and then the younger version, because you're sort of playing out the story 50 years apart, with the younger version of the character being played by Wyatt Russell, which is a great piece of casting again. The trailer is pretty epic. The VFX look a little unfinished at times in the trailer, but again, the show isn't out yet. The trailer was fun, and I will say season 1. I mean, again, Anna Sawai is hugely featured, and I would love to see more of her. I think there's actually a poster if you scroll down here, John, for the show. Love to see her in anything since Shogun, one of the breakout actors from that. They also have a lot of our other co-stars from Shogun, coming in for this year as well.
This is the full poster, by the way.
Yep. I was gonna say Takahiro Hira is one of her co-stars from Shogun, who's also going to be in this season of the show. So can't wait for Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I think this is also through Legendary.
What the fuck is Kurt Russell doing? He's enjoying his like semi-retirement. He's like, all right, I'll do this. That's cool. All right. Use my son,
But it
sure.
kind of like it works, right? Because this show, I was thinking they were gonna keep it closer to the tone of the movies, which is they jumped the shark and never looked back like 5 movies ago. Here, like they're still doing the big action, but the character development and work also is pretty good. So I'm looking forward to season 2. Season 1 was great and surprisingly good. Yeah, Wyatt Russell is U.S. agent. Eric. So, but yeah, I mean, he was also in the Kurt Russell was in the Fast and Furious movies, right? I think his character sort of goes away.
He was also in the Christmas Chronicles.
Yes, I think that is still ongoing. Like that's an ongoing thing. He's plays Santa Claus.
Yeah, awesome Santa Claus.
Yep. So, it looks.
Yes,
it looks
I do
good.
remember Sky High. It's goated and one of the best. It's you know what? It's the best superhero film Disney ever produced. Hot take.
Yeah, I think that's a hot take indeed. Let's move. So those are all the Apple TV announcements. You guys let us know what you thought about all the shows and movies they got coming our way. Big press event earlier today, so I'm sure we'll be looking forward to a lot of it. I think for me, the favorite thing that I'm looking forward to, we didn't even discuss a whole lot, is For All Mankind. That trailer drop last week, which I know, John, you haven't seen yet because
I haven't seen.
Well,
I don't
you
want to
did.
spoil it for
It's,
myself.
yeah.
Okay, I'm like for me, I'm at the point where Margot just got invited to Star City. That's where like at the end of that episode where she gets kidnapped. That's right where we stopped. So I think we're on
young
episode
naive
3 or
John.
4.
I will
Yeah.
just say, young naive John, you have a lot to see.
Yeah, I know.
And
Are you gonna watch Star City, like the spinoff?
oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm so excited because I feel like that's one of those
I'm
things
just not
where
terribly interested. Like, I'm just gonna be like, even though I'm not like, here's the thing, I'm not like some nationalist fucktard or anything, but I feel like just watching that show, I'll just be like, Merc, fuck you guys, Merc.
Really?
And like, just even though I'm not like that at all, just like fuck these guys, fuck Russia. Just like.
Well, but okay, so this is also just finish the season you're on. You're in season 4, right?
Yeah, we're almost up to date. So
yeah. So once you finish season 4, I think you'll have a better sense of the expectation you should have from
I
Star
guess so.
City. You know, because
don't go.
there's
Oh God, trust me, I don't electrocute dogs on screen. Calm down. I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy. Come on now. Come on now. And then like, oh, the evidence points you abuse your animal, you fucking piece of shit. So, you know. Ugh.
Yeah.
Not fair. Anyway.
Okay. So anyway, well, you guys let us know what you think about all the Apple TV announcements. I think Ted Lasso, For All Mankind, Monarch. I mean, some of the big ones, but they also have some of the other like, really good underrated shows that if you don't have Apple TV, then definitely go check that out. All right. So with that, John, let's move on to MCU Weekly. We got a bunch of Marvel news to get into. Why don't you walk us through?
Thanks, Figure Drawing. Appreciate you.
Why don't you walk us through the Avengers rumors, the latest and greatest?
Yes, the
apparently
latest rumor.
We're getting a better sense of how the X-Men sort of fit into the bigger picture, especially with regards to the Fox
outside
X-Men
of them
canon.
nuking New Jersey. Oop, did I say that out loud?
Don't say that, dude. That's
recently, the Cosmic Circus's Alex Perez shared a comic book panel from Ultimatum, seemingly in reference to Sir Ian McKellen's recent comments about Magneto's actions in the next Avengers movies. Later elaborating on his vague tease, Perez wrote, in Doomsday, the X-Men universe we get to see in the movie is a variant universe where events similar to that of the original trilogy and Days of Future Past occur, just to make it simpler for the audience to not do that much homework. What is new is that this universe exists as a utopia for humans and mutants, but you have to wonder what exactly happened prior to that allowed this utopia to exist, what sacrifices had to be made for the greater good. The greater good. And that question is the general motif of Doomsday, not just for Magneto, but Sam, his Avengers, the Thunderbolts, Wakandans, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Steve Rogers, Thor, Loki, the TVA, the variants we see in the movie, and most of all, Doom. What would you be willing to sacrifice to gain what you want, to succeed, to save the ones you love, your morals, your beliefs, your powers, your mortality, your life? So, um, it's interesting, like typical like ends justify the means sort of situation. Um, I'm curious to see if this will factor in because I think this is an interesting idea. Um, this is essentially what like the idea that they have here. This is essentially what it should have ended with. I mean, I know you've talked about this, Dan, but like
Mm.
this is what X-Men should have like kind of ended, like that universe should have ended, like whether it ended at Days of Future Past or maybe a little bit later, but like oh god, like just that end of like Days of Future Past, like have Logan be its own separate universe and that kind of thing. But I don't know, it just this is where like I feel like that the Fox universe should have been leading to, but either they didn't get the chance to or they just didn't want to. But that idea of, oh, it's like this utopian Earth, but it still has some like it's built on the foundation of, you know, terrible things that happened. So it's definitely an interesting idea, but I don't know if they'll actually do that. But Alex Perez is usually pretty good in terms of like teasing stuff and rumors. So, in terms of like hit and miss ratio. Um, but it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it'll play out exactly like this, but we do know Ian McKellen did pull a Tom Holland and say, "Oop, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Whoops a daisies." um, but so we'll see where this leads to.
Yeah, it's to me the way I look at so far the rumors, it's kind of shaping, and I think the next article too adds a little more nuance to this because it seems like the idea would be, according to this latest report, which I think this one here, if you scroll down, we can talk about I think this is coming from Daniel Rickman.
No, it's my time to
Oh
shine.
no, it's my time to shine. Okay, so they were saying in Avengers Doomsday, the X-Men had been through many incursions. So when the Avengers and Fantastic Four come to their universe to try and help them, they assume they came there to destroy them, and that's why they fight. So the idea is, again, to kind of put all the pieces together, the version of X-Men, like you said, John, are sort of not quite the versions from the original trilogy, but they're sort of like it's because it's similar to what they're doing with Daredevil on Disney Plus. It's they're leaving themselves room to sort of retcon some small elements where they maybe have some wiggle room. So season 1 through 4, there were 4 seasons of Daredevil, right, on Netflix. So like all of that stuff is technically canon, but like if they feel like it, they can retcon some stuff here and there with Daredevil Born Again. So it's the idea here is just assume that the Fox X-Men trilogy, the original trilogy, kind of, and then that's all those cast members, all those events are short. It's kind of like what James Gunn sort of tried to do with Peacemaker, and kind of saying like season 1 is canon except for a couple of things, significant things, like the scene
that
with
Green
Justice
Lantern
League
has a
thing.
puke fetish.
Yeah,
I think he liked it.
So that's the idea, but like, and I understand the way they're describing it here, that these X-Men have been through multiple incursions, and if you like look at the Secret Wars run in the comics and how that plays out, I can imagine the X-Men are like fighting, like they feel like they need to defend their universe, so and maybe it started off as like accidentally causing inversions or incursions, or inversion would be like if you're watching Tenet, but incursions. Then when the Avengers come over, because if you connect the pieces with all the rumors, apparently the movie's going to start off with now there's 2 different schools of thought on the rumors. It's either going to be that Tobey Maguire's universe is about to be destroyed, and all of this could be happening simultaneously, and like Tobey Maguire gets pulled in by the TVA and his universe is wiped out by the X-Men universe, and then they assemble whatever TVA version of Avengers they have, and then the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom comes to them, following up on that post-credit scene from last year's movie, and says, "We gotta like go stop these incursions. These are happening. There's signs of this." And then they come to the MCU 616, bring our Avengers. I don't know which team. I guess maybe both of them. The Captain America led one and the Thunderbolts Avengers, the new Avengers. Then they all go to the X-Men universe, and the X-Men are like probably like, oh, this is the latest set of superheroes here to fight us over, like, you know, our, and it's kill or be killed. And so they fight, and then they realize that they're all just there to try to fix the incursions. And then I guess somewhere along the way, Doctor Doom betrays them all because he wants the multiverse to collapse and then create Battle World. So that's
what
sort
you're
of
saying,
how it's coming together based on the rumors.
you have a bunch of heroes fighting each other, then realizing they have a common enemy. One person betrays them and is really a villain, and then eventually they have to fight each other to stop the greater evil. So just the first Avengers movie again and on a bigger scale.
I was gonna.
You did it. You did it. You got so fucking lazy that you just had to remake your own goddamn film over again. How fucking lazy can you possibly get? I would have gone louder, but it's midnight, so I can't really
It's
go
fair.
loud.
It's fair. Look, but there's also the thing of like there's only so many, you know, the whole like so many ways you can tell a story kind of thing. So, and some of these characters we haven't really seen interact before. Like, you know, kind of like what we remember before Infinity War came out. We were like, how are they going to bring all these pieces together? And then the Russo brothers, I think,
And
did
then
an admirable job
the
of
movie
it.
came out. They're like, oh, sloppily. That's what it was.
You and I disagree with that, but anyway, this is, I guess,
If you want to
if
see
you
that
guys
tier
believe the
list,
rumors.
go check that out earlier.
Yeah, and I think I got a little too intense in defending my choices, and I apologize for like kind of teaming up on you, John, because I know the
I literally
the chat
have gone on rants and shit. You're fine.
so enterprising just simply with a LOL. Thank you. Okay, let's keep on going because we got a In Case You Missed It story, which happened earlier this week. We just didn't get to it until
Avengers Doomsday. Nobody's getting a trailer. It's just too much money now. It's like, fuck it. We could just release this. They literally released this to fanfare online, and they got more views than fucking, you know, they would have if they did it for the Super Bowl. So, like, what's the point?
Yeah, so Avengers Doomsday is going to be skipping the Super Bowl. It looks like, and
You know, they
potentially Spider-Man.
How many
Brand New Day as
fucking
well.
billions of views did those 4 trailers get? What were the numbers again? I
It was
forget.
a billion. It was a billion altogether.
It was a billion. Okay.
Yeah.
That's more than how many people watch the fucking Super Bowl? Like fucking 300 million, fucking 50 million, whatever.
Something like
it
that.
is.
Something like that.
Something
yeah.
big like that. But like a billion, that's more. Like, come on, like, and they could save like fucking $12 trillion or however fucking much it costs to fucking have a Super Bowl commercial nowadays.
I think the going rate was something like 8 million for every 30 seconds.
Yeah, fuck that shit. And for a 2-minute trailer, that's a lot of fucking money.
Well, this is the
Marvel,
thing. So
they're kind of bleeding a little bit. They got to cut corners. DC, they have to cut corners. So like, fuck that. They could just release the trailer online and get more views.
I think ultimately the calculus that Disney and Marvel did here is it worth the money for the viewership, or can they get that kind of attention without it? Which obviously, like you said, they already got 1 billion views without even, you know, doing this whole thing. So why pay 8 million for just 30 seconds? Because a lot of trailers, you got to remember, there's way rare that nowadays maybe you'll get 2 or 3 trailers that you'll see the entire trailer on the broadcast. Most trailers, they'll just give you a 30-second preview or like a short version of it, and then they'll say full trailer online now. So Disney was probably like, yeah, you know, we don't really need to do this because yeah, they're sitting on 1 billion views and now more on the 4 that they put out. So 10 million. Oh, it's gone up. Okay, maybe I'm quoting last year's number.
Inflation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So, and Sony has kind of always skipped with well, more often than not. So it's not going to be surprising to hear that Spider-Man Brand New Day won't get a trailer either at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but yeah, John, why
neither was the Daredevil Born Again.
Daredevil thing.
But yeah, but we are gonna get something with the Funko Pops because these guys are still around at least a couple, like 6 more months before they get shuttered. But the as you can see below, 2 Funko Pops are being released featuring the Man Without Fear's updated black costume. We first saw this badass new look. Eventually, we deduced that the black costume is the red one worn by Matt Murdock. Blah blah blah. Now, thanks to Funko, it's been confirmed that the black and red version is Daredevil's battle damage look. It's a very cool design and makes for an even cooler pop collectible. So here you go. You have the battle damage look and the non-battle damage look. Very, very cool. So if you're a loser who collects Funko Pops, then these are for you.
Okay. Well, it was just interesting to see because this is technically the same suit from the original series. It just they painted it black. So then I guess in some fights, some of the red is going to start to show through once it gets a little busted up. So
did this motherfucker just take his red costume, like dunk it in black dye, and then just started wearing it, and then it like streaked? It was like, oh shit, no, you weren't supposed to see the red.
It is. I mean, that's the idea, but I'm like, he was very specific about the D's showing through, the double D's, even when he did dip it in a bunch of black paint or whatever. So anyway,
got them double D's. I don't have D's. Going. I have like B's.
Sure.
Like I have like
I believe you, John. I believe
moobs. Moobs is the correct term.
Okay. If you say so.
Hosea sent you a meme on Messenger to cheer you up, by the way.
Oh, I will look for that right now. Thank you. But let's keep going with the Marvel quick hits, I guess.
But yes, the Marvels reportedly considered casting George Clooney as a big Marvel hero. So, yeah, the original plan was for the Marvels to cast a well-known name. They were looking at Clive Owen or George Clooney to play a big Marvel hero from the comics that we think will have a big role in the movie, but then dies at the end of the first act. That was scrapped. Yeah, that's, I mean, it was assumed to have been the original Captain Marvel, but they already did that. They already did a gender bent version with Annette Bening in the first one. So I can't imagine that that's what they would have done. However, if it was, that would have been an even greater fucking disgrace to, the original Marvel Captain Marvel.
So yeah, I mean, they were gonna probably have like a big hero who just comes in and dies in the first act, which they were probably eyeing, according to this report, George Clooney to do that. Which, hey, sure, I'm sure George Clooney would have appreciated it, but I don't think if the movie needed it, because if they were trying to,
it was already DOA. It didn't need more bullshit added onto it.
So, yeah, it's I know, yeah, financially, I mean, look, Marvel was just putting the money in where the mouth is. Now they're just sort of having to pull back because of how much money a couple of their movies have lost recently. But with Doomsday, they're, I guess, putting all their eggs in one basket. So we'll see. Yeah, karma for Batman and Robin. Well, until the character, was supposed to die. So, by the way, to answer Steven's question, I think the first full trailer for Avengers Doomsday, you're probably right that when that Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out, that's probably the next best place for them to release that full teaser. Unless they feel like the hype is starting to die down for whatever reason, I would say, yeah, wait till May. Because we're already in February, March, April, there's May. So, put it ahead of
May.
Mandalorian and Grogu, which we'll talk about later too, because we got to talk about the other Super Bowl trailers we will get this year on Sunday. So, yeah, let's keep going though. We got more Marvel quick hits.
But HBO Max moves up new episodes of Industry and Night of the Seven Kingdoms ahead of Super Bowl. So,
this is supposed to be in the regular quick hits. I think I've misplaced it. So,
no!
Right.
Anyway,
it's okay. It's all right.
MCU Weekly.
No. There's more. There's more quick hits from MC. There should be.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
That's fine. We're going back into it. Hulk actor Mark Ruffalo responds to reports he's been fired by Disney following certain comments. He said, "Not that I know of." He replied with a smile. People keep going like, "Did you get fired?" "Not that I know of. It's nonsense. I'll be there as long as they'll have me, but I have a good relationship with them. Who knows? There might be things I'm already doing that I'm around. Let me just say that."
So he was, if anything, he was like, "Well, let me tease you with maybe the fact that I'm working on an Avengers," because he's implying he's working on an Avengers movie, right? Because he's already done filming Brand New Day. So, I mean, at this point, I think we can take that as more or less confirmation that he will be, if not in Doomsday, then Avengers Secret Wars as Hulk. But yeah, so he made a lot of very pointed comments about what's been going on in Minneapolis in the U.S. recently, and I look, we're not gonna get into the politics of it. I'll just say I agree with what he was saying, but you can imagine like Disney in recent years has tried to avoid, politically polarizing like comments from, especially like with Tatiana Maslany, what she said over this last course of last year, which each person, to each their own. And she's decided not to work with Marvel again. But Mark Ruffalo, he's like, I'm still doing it. It might even be filming the next Avengers movie. So
Yeah. But you know who's not going to be filming a project anytime soon is Sam Rockwell, because somebody asked him with, I assume, press release for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, his upcoming film. He was asked about Armor Wars, if he's returning, and he's like, what do you fuck are you talking about? Is that getting made?
That still exists? That's getting made? Nobody told him about it.
Paid? He's
I mean,
like,
also,
Armor Wars. Oh, you mean the Marvel thing? Is that being made? Well, it's I could team up like bad guys, that kind of thing. It's definitely a fun character. It'd be fun to play either that or a supervillain. It'd be great. And so, you can find out and let me know. I don't know. This is what Don Cheadle was saying a couple of years ago. I don't know. I'm not sure where anything is right now. I think things are going through a lot of changes, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's not surprising. I would love to see Don Cheadle back. I would love to see Sam Rockwell back. I would love to see
the scroll version or the regular version.
What? I didn't get that. Oh, the scroll. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, the regular version. I would just like regular version of. Yeah. I thought you said scroll, not scroll. But anyway, yeah. I just want to see. At home, kid.
Don't open stuff with your teeth. I'm just letting you know. Don't do that at home.
Yeah. I just want to see Sam Rockwell back dancing on from Iron Man 2 with the.
If he doesn't dance and Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, I'm gonna go full Karen.
Speaking of which, we will be talking about our 10 best comic book movie opening scenes on Tier List Tuesday coming up after DCU Daily. So, and I think Iron Man 2 will definitely be in there. So yeah. And Caleb's favorite superhero movie, The Dark Knight. Anyway.
But to the last MCU Weekly hit, Wonder Man is the cure to superhero fatigue on awesome new poster. So it's been getting uproariously positive reviews. Everyone's saying it's the greatest thing ever, except for I've seen a couple negative reviews, not a lot though, but it's been mainly positive.
Look, I was talking about it at the top of the show. I watched all of Wonder Man over the weekend. I watched it in 2 sittings, so I watched because there's 8 episodes, and I watched the first 5, then I watched the last 3, and I have to say, Wonder Man is truly like a breath of fresh air for like what you expect from the MCU these days. Thank you, Gil. But as far as Wonder Man goes, John, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but
I haven't. I have no.
I'll say this: this feels like the most anti-MCU show in the sense that like a lot of what MCU has been known for recently, or like having a big third act like CGI fight sequence that they felt like compelled to do for every one of those early Disney Plus series. This doesn't have that. The show is mostly focused on the character, work and the chemistry between the great Sir Ben Kingsley and, of course, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who continues to show why he's one of the best actors working today. And I think the show being sort of pivoted around that relationship, and then you get to really explore like Simon, who played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. The character of Simon, who becomes Wonder Man in this Juan Kovac movie. You get to explore his background, and not only like how he grew up, how he fell in love with the character of Wonder Man, which is a superhero in this Marvel universe, and they do a lot of good meta commentary on superhero fatigue, and then also just how Hollywood movies are made. You get a lot of elements of the studio, except it's not always played up for laughs. It's always kind of rooted in very they weren't trying to insult your intelligence, and I just felt like it was always like very reserved in some of the meta commentary. So I really did enjoy how they were piecing it all together, like exactly enterprising. It felt more like an FX original than it felt like a Marvel show. I mean, and Destin Daniel Cretton show ran it, directed most of the episodes. The characters were surprisingly nuanced. Exactly what you said, Eric. Like this show to me is the best. I'll just say it right now. I'll say like full screen. Wonder Man is the best show Marvel has put out in years. It might even be the best Disney Plus show that Marvel Studios has ever done. it's at least on par with WandaVision and Miss Marvel, if not better than both of them. And those were my two, the ones that hold the bar. And just yeah, I mean Trevor Slattery is also a character that has been played for laughs since Iron Man 3, almost on purpose. You get to see. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but you do get to see the return of the Mandarin in a way. And you really get, again, it's like
I know
you
exactly
saw him
what
in
you're talking about,
Shang-Chi.
'cause I looked up the plot summary
Yeah,
and I'm like, hey, they did the thing.
I know. So it's like, America, it's time for another lesson. As you'll never see me coming. It's like I forgot because like I haven't seen Iron Man 3 in such a long time. I was like, holy shit! Like the MCU got real in Iron Man. Because remember, like if you guys remember how the world was back when Iron Man 3 came out, that shit was very relevant, and it was just Iron Man 3. Like I laughed at the whole like twist when it happens, but like if I were to give one, like what they did with Wonder Man, not only did they flesh out the character of Simon, who's the lead character here, they also, if you are an actor, whether you're a struggling actor, whether you're a working actor, if you just know about like how actors, because like for example, John, we used to have Angelina on the show. She's not been on in a while, like Bridget and stuff, like, right? So we have worked with actors on the show here, and behind the scenes we'd have these conversations about like, it's just most of an actor's week and days are literally just auditioning. You do auditions, you send in self tapes, you hope for a callback, and that's really it. Like, and then you take some classes and you try to keep up with all the things that you need to have as a trained actor to then when the time comes be ready for a role. And you really they really show that struggle. And so I'm like, it's there's a lot of truth in what the show like showcases. It doesn't feel like this show lives at like a couple of levels above, like, and again, it's not always played for laughs. Like I genuinely was like, they redeemed Trevor Slattery's character finally, and it took them one Marvel one shot, a Shang-Chi movie, an Iron Man 3 plot twist to finally then get to Wonder Man and be like, the Oscar Academy Award winning Sir Ben Kingsley is indeed still one of the best actors in the world, and now we let him show us why. I cannot say any more. And it was, again, for me, just the timing of it, like everything over this past weekend with Zelda's passing, I felt like this show made me feel good. Like it just was a heartwarming show. There's definitely like a what is it, the darkness of the soul or the dark night of the soul moment in the show. I think it happens around, I want to say like episode 5, because it's to do with what Trevor Slattery is doing in LA and how he connects with Simon. And so there's a bit but then from there, like they land the plane all the way in the finale, because ultimately it's a show where walking away you're like, I want to see more Wonder Man. I want to see more Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second in the MCU. I want to see what they do with his character, and I want to see where Trevor Slattery
it can't
is
be
now.
any worse than Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and Watchmen. So
dude, no, it's the complete opposite. I cannot agree more with that one quote there. As close to perfection as the MCU can get. Like, this is, think about it this way, because I don't know if did you see Thunderbolts in theaters?
I did not.
Okay, because people were saying Thunderbolts was like the best MCU movie that came out last year. I feel like this is better than that. Wonder Man is genuinely, like, I don't know what your barometer is for the MCU. Like, what do you think is the best thing that you've seen in the MCU?
Terms of the best, probably Captain America: The Winter Soldier or Iron Man.
So the first Iron Man movie, again, TV show movie, the storytelling here is much more like down to earth, less CGI heavy. It's everything that like the excess of the MCU that we have grown a little tired of. This avoids all of that, because like the first Iron Man movie felt like it wasn't like, other than when you see a few fight sequences, but that movie didn't feel like an MCU movie has felt for the last few years, where like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there's CGI in every shot. You're going to like some crazy VFX element and everything, and everything looks sort of like artificial at times. The first Iron Man movie looked and felt real. This is closer to that than it is to anything that we have seen, especially on the Disney Plus side. So I highly recommend you guys go check out Wonder Man. It's 8 episodes. They're generally like around half an hour a piece, and with the the tone of the show. It's not like you're looking for a 50-minute long dramatic episode. They put them all out together, and I think it made sense because it wasn't like there was a lot of theories and Easter eggs laid out throughout the show, which was the case with like WandaVision, for example. So here it was surprisingly good, and the characters were nuanced, like Eric was saying. And yeah, I mean, movie spud, definitely go check it out. I loved watching this. There's a lot of like, I feel like mistakes the MCU has made over the years with, the characters of Trevor Slattery, the idea of the Mandarin and that whole thing. It's Trevor Slattery, Tara, that's Liverpool for goodbye. It just, there's so many good moments. And you just want good characters. Like they say, movie, if you have a great plot, make a movie. If you have great characters, or like if you're a writer, if you have a great plot in mind, write a movie. If you have great characters in mind, then write a TV show. And this TV show had great characters. The two lead characters are written perfectly, and they're in the hands of two amazing actors, and they deliver some of their best work. And look, I'm not saying this is like the next Godfather or like whatever the greatest, like, it's the Breaking Bad. It's an 8-episode limited series on Disney Plus from the MCU, but it feels like this is a step or two above most things the MCU puts out, including Daredevil Born Again. And again, no offense to Daredevil Born Again, it's because it's a multi-season show. This is like a limited series, so 100%. It's also at the beginning, John, this show after the Marvel television logo, this Marvel Spotlight thing, which kind of makes it feel like that's kind of now they're meant to be like their prestige banner, like Marvel Spotlight, and it sort of looks like this old school, like, black and white, like the logo. If you Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, figure drawing, this is proof that Marvel can do down to earth shows and movies without a $1 zillion budget. This is them, at least in this case, learning the right lessons. And that makes me feel a little bit better about getting a more grounded, quote unquote, version of Spider-Man and Spider-Man Brand New Day, because that's what they're meant to be, doing with Destin Daniel Cretton. He ran the show, he directed most of the episodes, and he's directing that movie. So now my expectations for Spider-Man Brand New Day have gone up a little bit because of that. So if I were to give it a rating, John, I would say this is a 5-star show. And even if I said recency bias, no, 5 out of 5. I would, even if I kind of had my rating go down over time, I would say it probably doesn't drop any lower than 4.5 out of 5. It's that good. And again, it's not going to change your life, but it's just it's written really well. And the Josh Gad stuff, by the way, amazing. DeMar Dorman Davis, that little, for once they actually did like a sidebar story episode where they have to do the whole, like, what was the DeMar Dorman Davis incident that caused the Dorman clause to be put in effect in Hollywood in the MCU. And it didn't feel like, all of a sudden in the middle of a Boba Fett show, we just went on a side quest with the Mandalorian. That made no sense. And then the Mandalorian totally took over the third act of that show. Like, it felt like the pieces worked together. The writing is great. So, yeah. I haven't been watching The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Hosea, but I am going to check it out because that's another show which, again, Game of Thrones on a smaller budget, lighter tone, and like character development. I'm watching it. And then they're releasing the next episode a bit early this Sunday, so not get in the way of the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, that's it. I mean, Wonder Man, go check it out. I highly recommend it. It was a nice breath of fresh air this past weekend when I saw it. So, but John, we gotta get into some movie talk madness. That's where we're at now. Let's
get into it, because speaking of Disney, we have quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah.
Apparently, we have a new CEO, which Dan, why don't you take over this one?
Yeah. So the big news of the day, other than movie trailers and everything that we've been talking about, Disney just named a new CEO. So I think if we had a show on Monday, we would have talked about, there was news that the board over at Disney was going to be voting for a new CEO on Tuesday. And so that's what happened. And so they had been going through the succession plan process over the last few years. Since Bob Iger came back, there was always going to be, a plan to, for him to once again retire, for the third time.
Just but like Brett Favre, Jesus Christ.
I'm so glad you loved or enjoyed Wonder Man Grogu. Amazing show. But yeah, exactly. He's gonna hopefully retire for real this time, Eric. But Bob Iger, his contract runs out at the end of this year. So he's still going to stay on with the company, but they voted, and now we know who they voted for as Bob Iger's replacement at the Disney board, and they've chosen Josh D'Amaro as the new CEO. Now, remember, the last time they did this, Bob Iger, chose his successor and then retired. It's been like almost a decade now. They brought in Bob Chapek, who was at the time leading their parks division. Well, Josh D'Amaro also was the leader of their parks division. Now, we all remember, or maybe you don't remember, but Bob Chapek did not last very long and almost drove Disney into the ground with like reorganizing things, taking a lot of power out of studio heads' hands in terms of like what goes on Disney Plus versus plays in theaters. Like during Bob Chapek's time, which was also marred by the pandemic, but even then, they put a bunch of Pixar movies directly on Disney Plus, which I feel like has hurt the Pixar brand over time. I think a lot of people think that, and they're still recovering. Then, they also had that whole PR nightmare, and then that led to a lawsuit from Scarlett Johansson over the release of Black Widow, which they also put on Disney Plus, and she was like, I'm supposed to get back end points on this. What about that? And then, they finally settled on that. So then Bob Iger came back, and he was like, I'm going to be, so, kind of be here for a few years. He signed a 4-year deal. He's been here since 2022, and his deal runs out at the end of 2026. Now, Josh D'Amaro is the new CEO. Again, comes from the parks division, which, look, that is a bit of a red flag that they're sort of doing something similar. But in Disney's defense, they did something a little different to try to maybe prevent against what happened last time. Because you see here in the headline, Dana Walden, who was basically the head of all of Disney's television side of things, has now been elevated to the role of a newly created role of president and chief creative officer. Kind of similar. So this is not exactly the same, but it's similar to what they've done at Lucasfilm with Dave Filoni being the chief creative officer,
which
and then
was similar
Brennan
to what fucking DC Studios did with James. Everybody,
James Gunn, Peter Safran,
guys. Gunn and Safran are the blueprint.
And you know what? The man who did that was David Zaslav. So give the man credit, because David Zaslav was the one. I'm gonna hire the two. although James Gunn was like, if you're gonna hire me, I can't be a CEO by myself. So James Gunn did push for it or ask about it, but David Zaslav, I guess started this trend. So there you go. But anyway, so Dana Walden, who's been, sort of the leader of Disney's television division for a while, will now also lead the film division. So like she's basically going to report to the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. And then she's actually going to now be the second most senior person in the company. And then under that you have like Alan Bergman, who's in charge of all of Walt Disney Motion Picture Studios, and then you have your Marvel Studios, Disney's Jimmy Pitaro. That's still sort of separate, so Jimmy Pitaro still reports directly to Josh D'Amaro, but that's ESPN. So that's kind of how this is all going to be playing out. John, if you go to the next article, I wanted to kind of briefly touch upon who these two people are a little bit more. So Dana Walden, I mentioned, this is, obviously a promotion for her. Nobody's ever been a president and chief creative officer of Disney. That's a new role. But Dana Walden was one of the people that was in the running to become the next CEO. In fact, there was another, I forget the name of the person there was another head of Disney Television in a similar role to Dana years ago, the first time Bob Iger was retiring, I think. And she didn't get the promotion, so she left. And now people are like, well, Dana Walden still sort of has the glass ceiling now because she didn't get the CEO role, but they gave her like the president chief creative officer role. So I guess if something were to change with Josh D'Amaro, she would be the next person in line. So take that for what it is. But
yeah, if anything were to happen to Josh D'Amaro.
So that being said, Bob Iger years ago was a television executive. That's the part of Disney that he rose from. So there is a little bit of similarity there in the sense that Dana Walden could still down the road kind of follow that same path Bob Iger did, from Disney Television all the way up to being the CEO of Disney, probably the greatest CEO Disney has ever seen, certainly from the financial success metric. And yeah, I mean, Dana Walden is going to be the chief creative officer. Josh D'Amaro is the CEO. Speaking of Josh D'Amaro, John, if you go to the next article, he and Bob Iger, so D'Amaro and Iger did like a television interview on ABC News, and they talked about a bunch of stuff. We're not going to go through all of it, but there was basically this whole idea of like passing of the torch, and he was saying, I'm ready for the challenge. With the AI, Josh D'Amaro was sort of in agreement with Bob Iger when he said, I see, Josh, and see similarities with how I approach AI, and I look at new technology as rather than a threat, as more as a challenge. And I'm like, okay, cool. we'll see how that works out, because Disney signed that whole deal with Sora not too long ago to license all their characters. So I know like we're not the biggest fans of AI here, and I'm not completely sold on how well that's going to work, but Disney's done it before. They were the first ones to kind of like adopt the iTunes model of music, and that definitely changed the game for how music was bought. But then there's the upsides and downsides to how that's changed the music industry. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, Josh D'Amaro, John, he's the new CEO. Dana Walden is the new chief creative officer. I am glad, like MTG is saying, that they've got somebody here who's got a television background, who's been on the creative side of things, who's gonna be making those decisions. So Josh D'Amaro can focus more on the CEO side of things. And the fact that they've not created a co-CEO position, they've got that slight, hierarchy where Josh D'Amaro is still the CEO, but Dana Walden, sits under him and is going to be the chief creative officer and president of Disney.
Sits under him.
Okay. But I appreciate that they've clearly made steps to not make the same mistakes as what they did with Bob Chapek, because you would say on the surface, Bob Chapek and Josh D'Amaro were both heads of their, theme parks division, which also Disney makes a lot of money from that. That's a bigger part of Disney's, bottom line that people expect it to be, because ultimately they make movies to make them into merchandise and theme parks, John, right? Like that's where the real money is. So, so it's not surprising that their next CEO is coming from that part of the company again. But yeah, we'll see. You guys let us know in the comments what you think about this. Again, a little business of Hollywood thing, but it's important because Disney is like probably the most prolific studio they are the most prolific studio in Hollywood, and they're going to have wow. I might have to get looked like somebody sniped me before I finished talking through the story. But anyway, yeah, they have a new CEO. Bob Iger, for his part, by the way, is going to be sticking around till the end of the year in more of a consultation role. So he's going to be like a senior advisor. So he's not leaving just yet. So I guess if something really horribly goes wrong in the next 11 months, more or less, then Bob Iger and will still be there in more of a consultation role. So, and once he's retired, he's still only going to be probably two steps away, because he's one of the biggest shareholders in Disney. So until Bob Iger is no longer with us, Bob Iger will always, have a say in some indirect way with Disney, but he won't be the CEO starting in March, when Josh will take over, and then Dana will be in her new position. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll take care of that's the Kevin Feige thing, the X-Men situation. To answer your question, Eric, Dana Walden is the one who has Hollywood film and television experience, and she's the chief creative officer. So, whereas Josh D'Amaro comes from the business side, from the theme parks side, which they just did like a whole new Disneyland thing in Abu Dhabi. So they're talking about expanding into that part of the world. There's a lot of young audiences that they're trying to tap into. So, I mean, yeah, it's fair. We'll see how it turns out. I'll reserve my judgment. It usually takes a year or two to figure out like how the new Disney is gonna look, or whichever company and gets a new set of CEOs. Like it's only now, or just last year, we were starting to see the impact of James Gunn and Peter Safran, and what they've done at DC Studios. It took them a few years for us to be able to see the work they were putting in. It's going to be similar here. So I wouldn't judge Josh D'Amaro and Dana Walden too harshly until, let's say, 2028, 2027, when they've been in their roles for a couple of years. You start to see the impact of what they're doing. So, yeah, exactly. And yeah, so with that, you guys let us know in the comments what you think about all that. But John, let's talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl trailers. The Super Bowl is days away. The Patriots and the Seahawks are going to be playing in NFL's biggest game of the year. And we talked about earlier in the show that the Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Day are not going to be, showcasing any of their trailers. But we do have some trailers that are expected to be in the lineup this Sunday. So I'm going to go through the list. By the way, hello, Jay. How are you doing, Jalen? And John, you stop me where you want. We'll go through the list of trailers that we will be seeing this weekend. Toy Story 5, we're going to be getting a first full trailer there. So we got a little teaser not too long ago. The Mandalorian and Grogu, they'll be dropping their first full trailer. And we probably, I think if the Avengers Doomsday trailer doesn't drop at the Super Bowl, which we know it won't, then the next most likely time that they will actually drop that is probably when the Mandalorian
anything non-Disney, because it seems like Disney's the only one that can afford these fucking trailers anymore. Shit.
Well, the Super Bowl this year is on NBC, so Disney is definitely paying a pretty penny. It's not like they're paying themselves, because like Disney gets the Super Bowl next year on ABC and ESPN. So probably likely that we're gonna get a Secret Wars trailer next year, but this year we're getting a Hoppers trailer from Pixar, Disney Pixar. So
Yes,
that looks
Avatar
interesting.
meets Over the Hedge meets Pompoko, but like worse. Cool.
I'm so glad you know about Over the Hedge.
Ah,
That's an underrated movie. Disclosure Day.
finally,
We're gonna get
some
a
good
trailer.
fucking food. Okay.
So we're gonna get a full Disclosure Day trailer. I mean, as in a full story trailer, because they already put like a teaser trailer out not too long ago. So I'm excited for that. So that will be interesting.
Yes, I've seen pretty much every good Studio Ghibli. I haven't seen like some of the shitty ones, but I've seen all the good ones.
Yeah.
But yes,
Super
perfect.
Mario Galaxy movie. Oh, I love the recent trailer. I can't wait to. Maybe they'll play the same trailer, or maybe they'll do one with slightly more new footage, because I feel like they just put out a trailer for this movie. So we'll see what the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer looks like. I love the last trailer. We talked about it for like 20 minutes the other day. Let's keep going. We got a few more.
Nope.
Minions
Michael.
3.
Yeah.
Come on, Minions 3.
No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Michael. Michael Jackson.
Michael.
Hell yeah.
We'll talk about the trailer itself in a minute, but yes, Michael, I'm guessing the trailer they just put out is also going to be playing during the Super Bowl, which it looked good. I'll just say that. It looked good. Let's keep going. Is that the last one? No, Scream 7.
Scream
They also
7.
just put out they already put it out online. So
Where are the
yeah.
superheroes? Not here. They can go fuck
Not here.
themselves. Because
And you know
them
what
can
it
afford
is?
it anymore.
I think, John, ultimately the reason why none of the superhero movies this year are going to be showcasing at the Super Bowl is not because they can't afford it, because Disney's clearly
No, I
got
know.
like
I'm
3
over
other
it.
movies. It's more because they know that the fans will find those trailers online, so they don't need to spend up $10 million for the ad spots. It's
Yeah,
the
for the
movies
people
that
that
they
will never watch a superhero movie. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, let's sell it to all like the dude bros that watch football. Yeah, that's gonna bring in the fucking money.
I mean, I'm sure that. So the idea is they want to put their money where they feel like the movies are going to need the help. Like Hoppers is a movie that's coming out in March. A lot of people don't, because it's an original Pixar story too. So it makes sense to put a trailer. I think Mandalorian and Grogu again. Star Wars needs to kind of rebuild itself. So it's a reputation with the fans at least. So yeah, and superhero movies. The Doomsday trailers, the 4 teasers got 1 billion views, so we're not worried about that so much. But yeah, I think that's the reason why. I mean, for me, I think the trailer that's probably the most interesting, intriguing for me, other than Disclosure Day, because that probably will be the top of my list, is Toy Story 5. Because remember we talked about like the teaser for that, and I was like, the concept, the premise of how kids today don't play with toys as much as they play with their iPads and tablets is a brilliant idea. I'm like, Toy Story is ripe for exploring that theme and what that franchise is. Now I want to see what it actually looks like with the trailer, because we just got a little teaser. So that for me is going to be the most interesting trailer. Like probably has the most upside of any trailer to surprise me. The Mandalorian and Grogu, I'll be interested in seeing that too. But yeah, no brand new day, Spider-Man brand new day. I mean, Sony doesn't usually they're not known for putting out a lot of trailers in the Super Bowl. So we'd imagine they'll probably put that trailer out either during the week of the Super Bowl, so maybe this week, or they will maybe find another spot, like maybe do it at the NBA All-Star game, which will be happening in a few weeks' time. So, yeah, but we'll leave it there. You guys let us know which of the Super Bowl trailers you guys are excited about in the comments down below. So, John, let's get into some more movie talk madness. Speaking of the GOAT, did you know, John, that GOAT is spelled with the EGOT, because that is what Steven Spielberg has achieved now, the status of
I mean, you're a
an
letter
EGOT.
off, but it works. It's fine.
Oh yeah, I was trying to do a thing. Anyway, so Steven Spielberg just won a Grammy for his documentary on Disney Plus called Music by John Williams, because as you can tell, it's about the collaboration between the two for decades now, going all the way back to the early days of Spielberg, some of his biggest hits like E.T. and stuff, and of course now they're working together again till he's 90 or till he's 100, John Williams, who's semi-retired, but he's back to work on a Steven Spielberg movie. So yeah, John, do you want to kind of explain to us what an EGOT is? Because I mean, the Grammy certainly is one part of it.
So an EGOT is when you win an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. It's pretty much going across all forms of media. It's television, music, movies, theater. So the fact that like Steven Spielberg covered all four of those is definitely an accomplishment. So yeah, he finally completed the quadfecta of an EGOT with the Grammy part. So yeah.
I will say though, the his Tony, which is the T in there, because they're so EGOT is, like you said, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. The Tony, it was sort of on technicality because the project he won for was he was like one of the group of producers that each got a trophy for like a Broadway play, and then with the Grammy, he's getting it as a producer because as you can imagine, Spielberg does not write music or compose music. Uh, so even then, John, it's like it's kind of like when Jennifer Hudson got the EGOT, you were like, huh, Jennifer Hudson, because everything was music related, like Oscar for music and song and stuff. So yeah, he got a Tony for like one of not E.T. the musical. There were a bunch of other because his company through Amblin Entertainment and stuff, he's been involved in the production as a producer on some Broadway shows, and so he won as a producer, one of a group of producers. And so similar to the Grammy win, where he's one of the producers on the Music by John Williams documentary. So it's I mean, it's not quite technicality, like it's not like he got it on a technicality, but it isn't the same as, it's not like all of a sudden like saying like Steven Spielberg knows how to sing and dance and act and direct. Like he's still mostly a director and a producer, but like he's won all those trophies for that. More, and these days he produces a lot more than he directs. So that's what he got it for. But yeah, I mean, hey John, at the end of the day, an EGOT is an EGOT. There's only 20 other people that have gotten that, so it's a very exclusive club. And Steven Spielberg certainly one is deserving of that, I would say. So yeah. Yep, the Strange Loop. Thank you, MTG. That was a Strange Loop was the play, the broad. Yeah. So, but let's talk about some trailers, John. We had a few trailers drop over the course of the weekend and Monday, and then into Tuesday. The Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer. Remember, John, the Devil Wears Prada 2's teaser trailer was the highest viewed trailer of 2025. It wasn't. I mean, you can combine the 4 Doomsday trailers, and then they were higher, but. Even a couple of them came out in like the new year. So Devil Wears Prada 2 is going to have a huge audience. And I watched this, and the best thing about this trailer is Meryl Streep's character has no memory of the events of the first film. Like she completely doesn't remember Anne Hathaway's character. And then of course Emily Blunt is back. It's like you get to see Andy and Emily. It's just, yeah. And then, anytime I get to see Stanley Tucci in something, just chef's kiss, so yeah. John, what did you think? I love this trailer. This was if you're a fan of the first movie, then this trailer was everything and more that you would expect without giving away literally any of the plot of the new film.
I didn't watch it because I don't fucking care about Devil Wears Prada.
Cool. All right. Well, you guys let us know what you thought about it, because the Devil Wears Prada 2.
But it definitely is very much like Miranda Priest's character of just like having no like just like being that up her own ass, being like, "Who are you? Who are you? Why are you? Why are you here? What do you get out of my face?" Like that. Like yeah, that fits.
She's like, where was I in all of that? Like it's like, oh. I mean, do they look? They don't look quite the same. You could definitely. I'm okay, but they look a lot like more similar to what they looked like 20 years ago than you would expect. And whether that's makeup, hair and makeup, de-aging or whatever, it's Hollywood for you. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. If you're a fan of the first movie, this looks
old school
exactly
Hollywood
like
buffet.
that. Yeah. You know what? We have put the Fast and Furious movies in the Tier List Tuesday poll before,
but nobody cares. Never won. So, that would be Dan by himself, because I haven't seen a single. I would just put. I have to watch Fast X. I would pull a Caleb. I would just put them all in D tier just to be an asshole.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the whole crew is back, enterprising, and seeing it all. You
know why? I think it looks kind of different as opposed to the first movie. The first movie was on film. This is on digital. So I think like it's like not quite right, but like
the filmic look is different. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see it. All right. Well, but that wasn't the only trailer, John. We got a couple of more trailers to talk about.
Indeed. Scream 7, because sure, we need to fucking leak more money out of the fucking horror crowd with this one, so sure, why not? Even people who were fucking I had known people that were like jerking off Scream 5 and 6 that are not excited for this movie. And it's like, bruh.
I watched a trailer. You know what it felt like to me? It felt like one of the Halloween trilogy movies, the sequel trilogy, I guess. Where like was it the one? Well, it's the one where Michael Myers like sets the house on fire, and then. So what was that? Which was it?
That was
Halloween?
That was the end of Halloween 2018, but into Halloween Kills.
Okay. Yes,
I
was like, there's a. Right. So this, I mean, at least superficially,
it should have ended when Wes Craven died. That is when this should have. Scream 4 was he wanted to do 2 more, but I think Scream 4 was a box office bomb. So they were like, we're not gonna do this. So he's like, fine. And then he did also My Soul to Take, which was not very good. And then he passed away a couple years after that. So, and I think he was trying to get a 5th movie off the ground, but it just never went anywhere. But that's when this series it should have died with Wes Craven. Like I've said that many times in the past. It's just Scream 5 was an insult as a horror fan, and it just was not a well done movie. It was so bad I couldn't even watch Scream 6. The thing is, I've never been a huge Scream fan. I think it's always been one of the lesser horror franchises, but with how Scream 5 treated the franchise, it did make me appreciate the prior films. So I mean, I guess that's something. But yeah, it's just Scream 7. The problem I have with Scream 7, it just looks like the movies that Scream would make fun of. Like that's what it feels like to me. There's no hint of like humor. There's no hint of like meta-ness to it all. I think they're like trying to make fun of AI with this one. I think that's what it is. Like the person uses AI to like digitally recreate like the people of the past, because I know like that's why Matthew Lillard's coming back and Skeet Ulrich and David Arquette, because they're getting like their voices getting digitally recreated to like make Sydney scared and all that shit. So I don't know. It's just like every time I just see the trailer, like with that TikTok star Jimmy Tatro, who I do like. I think he's very funny. Like in a 22 Jump Street, it's a red herring. Yeah, my high school team was the red herring. You know, like fucking love that. But yeah, it just is so generic to me. And the thing is, I know it got leaked, like the ending on who the twist villain is.
Mm-hmm.
It got leaked, and I read who it was. I'm like, that is so fucking stupid that I know people are going to be pissed at that, because it sounds. I'm not gonna spoil it here. If you want to know, then I mean, I can like email you, but like. I think there's Reddit posts about it that you could find somewhere, but the twist is so dumb, and like this just looks like every other movie that Scream would make fun of. Like that's it. The trail, maybe hopefully the movie is better for people that are excited for this, but it just screams just generic flop to me. That's just all it is. Like, I don't like that. Yeah, exactly. Scream is what The Boys was. It became what it made fun of. So, yeah, lame. Anyway,
interesting. Okay, well, I again, I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, but I felt like some of those Halloween vibes from 2018. So,
yeah,
this on the other hand, John, the Michael trailer, you get to see a lot more of what this movie seemingly is going to be about. Again, there's still some mysteries about like where the story will start and where it will end, but damn, you get a young Michael, played by one of his nephews. I forget what's his name.
Jafar Jackson.
Jafar Jackson, and you get to see like the Why am I forgetting what was the name of their father? The Jackson Five.
Coleman Domingo. Oh,
Well, the act.
well, I didn't know if you were talking about the actor who plays him or.
Joe Jackson. Sorry, Joe Jackson. Like you get to see like the family dynamic of it all, and then the struggle that Michael had of like trying to break free of the Jackson Five. Well, I want to do my own thing. Then I mean, the trailer sort of skips across a lot of moments, and you get to see him, performing some of his more iconic, songs and just some of the most iconic performances of Michael Jackson. It remains to be seen how they're probably not going to, cover any of the controversy around Michael because like his state is sort of signed off on this movie. But the Lionsgate probably has one of their billion-dollar hits of the year here, John, because the first teaser trailer gave me goosebumps, and then this one, my immediate reaction wasn't as visceral. Thank you, MTG, for that. But watching it a couple of times, I'm like, I'm getting excited. Like again, it just felt like a movie that I'm gonna go watch and enjoy, and especially like with movies like this, where they're biopics of singers and like musical acts like Bohemian Rhapsody and such. The best parts of the movies are usually the ones where you see the performances brought to life again. And so every time you get to see some of the most iconic, like Michael Jackson performances from what was it, the Motown, I forget. I think they're gonna the Motown performance with like the first time he did the moonwalk and Motown 25. It's just those you could see they're gonna be reliving all those moments. So it's just if you grew up with Michael Jackson and you knew how big of a star he was, because if you think Taylor Swift is big, if you think Beyonce is big, Michael Jackson was bigger in like before the internet existed, and that's saying something. So yeah, I'm really excited for this movie, John. The trailer only reaffirms my excitement, and you get to see more with this trailer now, more of the story of the movie too. What did you think?
But yeah, this trailer is definitely something. Yeah, like the makeup was so good. I forgot that Coleman Domingo was the father for a second.
Yeah, he really, yeah, yep.
It's just I do hope it is 2 movies. There's none in the marketing that tells, because that was like a rumor that it was gonna be 2 movies and then it wasn't, and then I do hope it is, because like someone like Michael kind of deserves it. I feel like Michael Jackson just was like, he was the celebrity. Like the way we act around celebrities was how celebrities acted around Michael Jackson. Like that was what it was. He was the famous guy for everybody on planet Earth. He was just another level of stardom that no one has achieved since. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, but fucking Taylor Swift and Beyonce. No, nobody. It just like when it comes to guys named Michael J of their respective fields, nobody comes close. Whether it be Jackson or Jordan, they don't come close. So I feel like he's deserving of that 2-parter, but even if not, I'm still excited for the movie. I think Anton Fuqua, he's a great director. He's more like visceral and gritty, so it's interesting how he's going for more like a stardom blockbuster kind of thing.
Very like he's not done a ton of, because like Training Day, he did the Olympus Has Fallen,
Training Day, Magnificent Seven, Southpaw, a lot of like very visceral, gritty movies. So I'm curious how he handles something that's not like that. So not saying like this can't be visceral, because like I mean the abuse that Michael Jackson received from his father, like emotionally, was a lot, and that can be seen as visceral. But I'm curious how they'll handle that. But it's still like comparable. Like Training Day versus this is very different. So
right. No, I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this movie all plays out, because like there's so much story to tell, John, and then there's no confirmation yet whether we're gonna get more than one, but I can't imagine they can cover everything in one movie. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, dude, yeah, Michael Jackson was selling out football stadiums before the Super Bowl. Had the idea to create the halftime show. Yep, he was the half. Yeah, exactly. No, it's sort of like very yeah. It's the whole chicken before the egg situation. But yeah, Michael Jackson, he was the first halftime show performer and inspired them to even make it a thing. And now like Netflix does halftime shows for like the Christmas games. But yeah, Michael Jackson was huge. Oh yeah, and then
Equalizer, that was great.
Equalizer series. Antoine Fuqua did that too. Yeah, this was an awesome trailer. I'll give that a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Simply because I think the visceral emotion reaction I had with the first teaser trailer was a little bit more intense. So, but it's still it's up there for me.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, Beatles
bigger than the Beatles. Ooh.
I mean, they literally changed music forever. There probably wouldn't be a Michael Jackson without the Beatles. So it's just like the sort of like cause and effects kind of thing. So I don't know. It's possible, but I think it's more balanced, you know.
I think it's that whole it's a bit more of a nuanced thing. Yeah, that conversation we could probably have a debate about for a long time, because some of it is also just comes down to how we feel about it based on we were like around for that or not. Like it's like, again, and it's not through any fault of our own. If you weren't around for when Michael Jackson was around during the peak of his prime, it's like it's hard to fathom like the level of stardom that he achieved, you know. And yet, like, if you were around during the Beatles, like, you know, it's like they were big for their time. It doesn't always translate across eras because social media wasn't a thing, internet wasn't a thing. You know, you weren't constantly exposed on the internet. Like, you know, you didn't have a direct line connection with your fans the way like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and stuff have now. So, but yeah, the Michael movie is gonna be big. I think we can all agree on that. There's lots of Michael Jackson fans out there. I mean, millions, literally. I'm gonna be watching that movie probably multiple times if Bohemian Rhapsody was anything to go off of. But hey, you guys let us know which of those trailers were you most excited about? Whether it was Scream 7, the Michael trailer, or of course the Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer. And then with that, John, I think it's time for the quick hits. Let's get to that part of the show. Then we gotta get to DCU
into
Daily.
that. And there we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, starting off the quick hits, we gotta talk about Sir President. But Christopher Nolan says Directors Union unlikely to accept 5-year deal with AMPTP. DGA president talks AI, healthcare, tax incentives, and more ahead of 2026 bargaining. Now try to keep this under a minute.
Yeah, I was just gonna simply point out the fact that, because we don't need to talk about all the other things just now, he just said, look, the AMPTP, we talked about this not too long ago, the producers union those are all the studios. Think of AMPTP as the studios, like Warner Brothers, Disney, you know, all the Universal. They were saying, we will give your unions more money to backfill your, you know, underfunded insurance plans for your members in exchange for giving us a 5-year deal, so we don't have to renegotiate every 3 years, which is the current standard. And, you know, Christopher Nolan's saying the directors union is most likely not going to go with that idea. Because, you know, ultimately they're like, we'll give you more money here, but then you give us a 5-year deal. So for the studios, it means more stability because they're not coming back to the, you know, table and negotiating and potentially having the unions go on strike every 3 years. It will be 5 years. So you can see the, you know, the argument from both sides. I'm not surprised that the DGA is not willing to take that 5-year deal, but that's still going to be in negotiation. So that's what he was talking about here. So, yeah.
Right. But, you know, he further talked about weighing in on who should own Warner Brothers, job cuts, and saying how the loss of a major studio is a huge blow. But yeah, it's in terms of all this, it's definitely a lot. But you know, let's.
John, can you hear the contempt? Can you hear the contempt from Christopher Nolan, who formerly was in the House of Warner? He's like, the loss of a major studio is a huge blow. Not the studio that gave me most of my hits. It's a studio. It's like a spurned girlfriend who's just like, or you know, you're like how somebody talks about their ex. It's like that's how Christopher Nolan talks about Warner Brothers.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just exaggerating for effect. I'm
I
sure
know,
he's still.
but
yeah.
Hollywood guilds raised concerns with Senate antitrust subcommittee over Warner Brothers sale amid Netflix congressional hearings.
So these were mostly prepared statements. So they were like kind of sent in written statements that I think that they read out at the congressional hearings, and we'll talk more about what Ted Sarandos said because that's kind of like where this is all from today. And yeah, so the DJ, just to highlight, the DGA, the PGA, and a bunch of the other guilds, they were all sort of like raising concerns and saying like we're not taking a position on things. The DGA wasn't taking a position one way or the other, whether they prefer Netflix, Paramount, or like, you know, for them to just not make any of these deals go through. But yeah, it makes sense, right? Like, because the unions will probably lose out the most, and because they're the people that work on the movies and TV shows, and if there's one less company producing, there's less competition. So we've talked about this before. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Christopher Nolan, going back to Christopher Nolan, on why he wanted to run the DGA
Sir
while
President.
making The Odyssey. Yes.
I'll read the quote. Sir President Christopher Nolan was asked, like, so why become the DGA president while you're working on such a big movie and like doing what you're doing? And he was like, directing is a lonely profession. You don't tend to spend a lot of time with other directors. So to come to the DGA and actually be able to have real conversations about our concerns, whether they're creative or within the business, it's been a really rewarding part of my life. So yeah, I guess he's like, you know, I've got a lot of clout and I want to use it. And I can understand, like, being a director could be a lonely thing sometimes, and, you know, leading by example. So I get it. Yeah, totally understand.
Look at
Hello,
all
Stacey.
the lonely people. Anyway, but next up, Halle Berry says Monsters Ball Oscar didn't move the needle for her career. While I was widely proud of it, I was still black the next morning, saying that even though she got this great award, she still suffered from a lot of bullshit in the industry. I mean, pretty much everyone who has won an Oscar recently has said this. Like, the chick from The Fighter said this, Ki-Hu Kwan said it, Brendan Fraser said it. So, like, pretty much, like, so many people say, this literally does nothing for you except reward you for a good performance in that. It does nothing for you in the industry. It doesn't do anything for you in terms of getting more roles. It literally, it begins and ends on that very night when you accepted or prefer a performance, and then maybe people will reference it later on, being like, oh, hey, this person won an Oscar, and yeah, it's kind of it.
Yeah, I will say it definitely moved the needle for a lot of people, but not for a career. Yeah, I agree, probably not so much. So the movie, that is, the performance.
Yeah. But next up, China box office, Zootopia 2 returns to #1 as holdovers dominate ahead of Lunar New Year. Congrats, I guess. So
this was interesting because, dude, like, it's like China just can't get enough of Zootopia 2 no matter what happens. Like, they just keep coming back to the movie because it was at the top of the box office for a while, and then it, like, Avatar took over for a couple of weeks, then it just roars back in, and now it's like there's just not any other bigger movies. Like, China just wants more and more of Zootopia, which, great, you know, good for China. So all right, let's keep going. We got a couple more box office things.
Yeah. But a big one, Iron Lung director Markiplier cries after self-financed movie debuts at $21 million globally. A hero's moment is to show indie filmmaking is possible. It's definitely showcasing some maybe quaking in the industry, as, you know, this defied a lot of expectations. A lot of people didn't believe in the movie, and the fact that it is, you know, actually getting to the point of it's like gotten 7 times its original budget shows that maybe Markiplier is starting something in the movie industry that might not be able to be stopped by big studios. Hopefully, if we're being optimistic about this, it could definitely start a big move in the industry if this continued to do well. So I'm happy for Mr. Fishbach. But I hope it leads to a better and more creative future, and Hollywood to really look into themselves and hopefully evolve. But that's just the dreams of a man who also wants to do this for a living, but has not been able to gotten the right foot in the door. So.
Yeah, well, John, all I'll say is it was just a heartwarming story to see, his reaction. And you talked about this. You reviewed Iron Lung the other day, and yeah, I think we're living in a world where they're just two extremes. Like, you either make a really small indie movie and you have a completely different distribution model, or you make a big budget $100 million movie that plays in theaters. We need more movies like this, more examples where you're able to have a theatrical release. The math doesn't always work out, but it's good to see that Markiplier has been able to have that success, and we hope that other creators are given the opportunity now that that door has been opened. So yeah.
But yeah, good for him. And then Jason Statham, Action Picture Shelter, scores record opening in the Middle East and North Africa. I mean, somebody's gotta watch this movie, right? God knows it's not the Americans, and God knows it's not the Chinese, so somebody's gotta watch this, right? And I guess it's the people in the Middle East and North Africa.
So cool. You know what's interesting is this opening in the Middle East made more money than the Chinese opening by $0.2 million. It was 2.3 million in Middle East and North America, and then it made 2.1 in China. So it beat out a couple of, and the UK as well, where it made less than 2 million. And then 2.3 is roughly 40% of the American opening, because in North American box office it opened to 5.5. So John, our favorite action star, Jason Statham, sheltering in one of the hinterlands of Scotland. Can't wait to see this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Or I'm sure it is a lot of fun.
Yep. But Hot Package, Sylvester Stallone and Cole Hauser and MGM Television teaming for Blood Aces series on Benny Binion and the birth of modern Las Vegas. I mean, I guess Sly Stallone is just trying to knock off every mob thing that he's doing. You got Tulsa King and this and that and the other thing. All right.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Cool. But Nancy Meyers set to return after 11 years with all-star comedy led by Cruise, Culkin, and Law. It's going to have a Christmas 2027 release date. Nice to see. Helena Bonham Carter, Katrina Balfe, and Emma Laird join Anthony Hopkins in Richard Eyre's Daphne du Maurier-inspired romance The Housekeeper, nothing to do with The Housemaid. Two very different movies, so very
although that's where my mind immediately went, because I was like,
yep.
Helena Bonham Carter, there's a certain quality to her that definitely could relate to Sydney Sweeney's performances. As she was never mind. I'm just gonna stop.
Sure, let's just move on.
My head.
Benelope Cumberbund to star in thriller Last Flight, protagonist launching for EFM. Cool, I guess. Nice. Last of Us adds Clea Duvall. Jorge Lindenborg Jr. takes over Manny role in season 3, which many have said will be the last season. I mean, considering that there's 2 games. First one was the first season, and the second game is being split into seasons 2 and 3. So season 3 will be the final season. So Congrats to them, I guess.
It's also
Fall Guy star.
Sorry, just quickly. Danny Ramirez played that role before, and of course he's doing all the Avengers movies, so he's tied up with that.
He's like, Last of Us, Avengers money. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. But speaking of action films, Fall Guy. I mean, this was reported a while ago, but Teresa Palmer officially, I think she was rumored, but now it's official that she's going to be joining Prime Video's God of War series, and she's going to play the character of Sif. Then apparently the BAFTA Film Awards to air on E in US, so if you're actually interested in the BAFTAs, then it's going to premiere on E. It's going to be broadcast on February 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to watch it, then you can.
Yep.
But speaking of award shows, TV ratings, Grammys dropped 14.4 million viewers, decline in final year on CBS. The audience for the awards falls by about 6% from 2025. That makes sense because I think people are just kind of becoming disillusioned with award shows at this point. A Man on the Inside renewed for a third season at Netflix. I wasn't aware that this was on for so long. I thought like the first season like just aired, but I'd watch. The thing is, I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I like Ted Danson. Mike Schur does a lot of great work. I'd watch this. I gotta add it to the list then.
No, this show it's moved really quickly. I'm like, whoa! I didn't realize. Again, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I didn't realize it had been on for this long. But yeah, catch it while you can, I guess.
But unfortunately, the Kelly Clarkson show to end after 7 seasons. So if you were a fan of this, apologies, but it is ending after 7 seasons. Then another show that I had no idea existed, Sherry, daytime syndicated talk show, canceled after 4 seasons. No idea that fucking existed. I don't even know who that is. But
that was
HBO
like another.
Max,
it was similar to like the Kelly Clarkson daytime.
HBO Max, but yeah, HBO Max moves up new episodes of Industry, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms ahead of Super Bowl. Cool. The show with pooping and pissing in the first 2 episodes, so that's nice. Then the final quick hit, Mattel Studios will follow Masters of the Universe with Tony the Tattooed Man movie. So we're getting a Matchbox movie, getting Masters of the Universe, and Tony the Tattooed Man. Oh, what a time to be alive in the film industry. Great.
Great stuff, right? Like, you just love... Hollywood is just great at coming up with original ideas, I think. I think maybe I was being a little facetious there. Maybe not in tone, but that's what I meant. Yeah, Mattel for real? Come on. Exactly, that's what we were saying too. That's all the news we got for you guys. But hey, John, we're not done yet. The ride ain't over yet.
My man.
There you go. Thank you. But thank you for watching the news part of the show. And we will swiftly move on to DCU Daily. And then from there, of course, we got some Tier List Tuesday coming up. Kind of late Tier List Tuesday, sort of into Wednesday. But as always, we are usually blessed at the end, but we're also blessed at the beginning.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
All right, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. We got lots to get into, and there's going to be some Superman talk. We got to talk about what Ted Sarandos said at that Senate congressional hearing. Yeah, he was basically at Capitol Hill talking about the Netflix deal for Warner Brothers, and he might have mentioned something about the success or lack thereof of Superman. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Supergirl maybe skipping the Super Bowl this year. No trailer at the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that. A bunch of quick hits, whether it's Zack Snyder or, James Gunn talking about and posting stuff on their social medias. We got Jordan here. You know what, Jordan? We will talk about that. And let's just say that, like the internet does, they sort of blow things out of proportion a little bit. So we will provide the context and we will give you the exact quote, and then we can, see what you make of it. But yeah, and to answer your question, what's with all the toy movies, Dark Lead Eric? It's all about the merchandise. If you make a great Barbie movie, you can sell a lot of Barbie dolls. So that's why they're making a Matchbox movie. There's like a Hot Wheels movie that's still in development somewhere. So that's also why they're working on that next Mattel movie over that we talked about in the Quick Hits, which is going to be following the Masters of the Universe movie. Crazy as it is, but anyway, getting back to talking about DC Puppy Bowl. Yeah, Puppy Bowl again. We'll be talking about that. But John, which of the DC stories today are you most excited to talk about?
That's a great question. Great question.
Leaving us in suspense, he is. But we got some DC quickies to dive into. The Parrots, Ducks, Pelicans of DCU news, as we call them. And with that, we got a quick super chat here from Just Some Geeky Guy. Thank you for the $5 super chat, saying, "I'm calling it. Sarandos will delay Man of Tomorrow's release date to ensure it's a hit at the box office." That's an interesting take, John. What do you make of that? Because I don't know if there's a need to delay a movie
Here's
that's
the
not
thing.
even in
If the
production yet.
here's the thing. If the Netflix deal actually goes through, and considering it's getting delayed by, Paramount, by Congress as the days go by, I can't imagine that it will go through until 2028. Like, that's probably the earliest and once Man of Tomorrow is already out. That's because with like dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, doing all the formalities, doing this, that, and the other thing, then I can't imagine it's going to be before 2028. Again, that's being nice. Because how long did the Fox merger take?
It took like a couple of years because they were it usually takes about 1 to 2 years on average. And then like the when AT&T bought Warner Brothers, there was like a whole lawsuit from the US regulators. So that and that added like another almost year to that. So, yeah, it's gonna take probably, I want to, like you said, until 20, like Netflix said, probably 2027. They're hoping like mid 2027. I would imagine that if there's any resistance along the way from the regulators, then you could easily see that timeline pushed probably till 2028. But the thing is, like, it's Man of Tomorrow is going to be shot this year. They're going to be done with post-production on it by this time next year. Like, the movie is going to be out, like Netflix is not going to delay that movie because they said we're going to keep all the businesses running as
as is,
per normal, as is. Like, they don't want to like rock the boat too much because they're like, what works. We're gonna keep it that way.
Rock the boat now, baby, rock the boat.
So I don't think Netflix would just all of a sudden be like, sorry, James Gunn, you're gonna have to hold on to this movie until we take over, because that goes completely against everything they've said so far about how they're gonna like run Warner Brothers. So now again, that could all change, but like I don't think that's where we're headed right now, if that makes any sense. Right. So yeah. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Glad we addressed that early, but we will get into lots more stuff. Speaking of which, John, let's talk about. I don't know. By the way, I don't know if Peter Safran and James gonna earn a 15-year contract extension, Johnny. I'd imagine Netflix would want to have their own say on that, and Man of Tomorrow probably will have a big role to play, and as well as everything that comes out this year. But speaking of everything that comes out this year, John, we've got some new popcorn buckets over at AMC theaters. If you go to an AMC theater, you can now get yourself some DC Comics 90th anniversary popcorn buckets. These special designs, they feature the comic book covers, the collectible tins that feature, I think, the
21 each. Dan, I think I'm gonna need an extension on my next paycheck.
You know what, you could file that as an expense, but there's a few options to pick from. You got Action Comics #1, you got Superman #1, Batman #1, Wonder Woman #1, Volume #1, number 103, The Flash, Showcase Comics #4, and Justice League number 102. John, care to kind of walk us through these, because I know you're more familiar with some of these.
So they kind of essentially look like books. I'm probably gonna have to sneak these past my parents because they get mad at me every time I get a popcorn bucket.
Like the Herbie one, yeah.
No, the one they got mad at was when I got it for Naked Gun. When I got the Beaver popcorn bucket, they were like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What? Leave me alone. It's my money. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. I'm an adult. I have free will. Get off my back." But it essentially looks like this. It looks like, a book, and it's looking. I don't know if you like open it and the popcorn's there, or it's like on top.
I'm guessing it's on the top. Like, it's just meant to look. So when you sit it on the shelf, it looks like the cover of one of the books. Yeah. So But these are
Looking
great. I
good.
mean, 21. There's 6 or 7 of them. So if you do, let's do the math quick, right? There were
1, 2,
6.
3, 4, 5, 6.
So 21
That's
times 6.
about $126.
That's a decent chunk of change. Yeah. It's but I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely overpriced, but it's also not entirely like cheap necessarily. But
I'm just gonna, it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's going like this. It's like me walking into fucking AMC to buy every single popcorn bucket they have.
Yep, I hear you. All right. Well, we'll see. I'm sure one of us will end up with 1 or 2 of these, and then we can talk about.
No, I'm
like,
getting all of them.
Oh, you are?
I'm
Okay,
not
cool.
just coming for 30%. I'm taking it all. All right.
Got it. Understood.
Boom. So, fuck you. Anyway.
Let's keep going. This is great, dude. These fine art prints of these new Superman collectible posters look amazing. I want to order one of these. I think I was on the RSVP list for this. What do you think about these designs?
It's literally just the same poster. Oh, no, there's slight changes in like the like one's gold, one's silver, one's white. Okay. Yeah, they look cool.
Right? I was gonna say they look amazing. I would love to have this as like, especially because they're fine art prints. You know, the inks and everything will last long, so like they're designed to last for a long time. And to me, that would be like the best. That's the best part of it all. Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep on rolling then, shall we? We got more crickets to talk about.
New look at Absolute Hawkman in Absolute Superman number 16.
Nice. That looks nice. Is that
Very
Peacemaker
cool.
down there? Is that Peacemaker at the bottom? Are there multiple
No, I think it might be. They might have like a Peacemaker squad. But yeah, it looks cool.
By the way, I agree, Jalen. Those posters look sweet.
Wet.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited too, Jalen. All right, let's keep on going. More crickets to get into.
Oh boy. Don't mess with the ladies with the mascara warriors, sisters, legends.
Zack Snyder.
Very much
hey.
so. Death by Snoo Snoo.
There's a Peacemaker army. Okay, so that's what it was
Okay.
in the other one.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't
Got
read
it,
the
Ozzy.
Absolute
Thank you.
Universe, so thank you for that.
But dude, the ladies of Themyscira, there were some badass chicks in those Zack Snyder movies. Like you can't deny that part. So yeah, I can't. I mean, these insights are good. I love to see. This is where I'm like, look, it's kind of looking back at the stuff that is already in the past, and it's not like trying to pitch like a whole sequel. Although, looking at this photo, I do wonder like, where is that Paradise Lost series? You know.
True.
In the DCU. Hello, D. Ross. How are you doing, Marco?
But hey, ride's not over yet. Got Lois Lane.
The incomparable
Amy Adams
Amy
as
Adams.
Lois Lane.
Yes.
The worst Lois Lane.
That's
I'm sorry,
opinion, John.
I will.
That's
It's just the
hey,
problem.
Bane.
Like that's the one major thing in regards to like Amy Adams was she's like too nice. She's like too like her voice is like too high. Like she doesn't have like that like grungy visceral nature that Lois Lane kind of has, and she's just like, oh hey, like oh hello Senator, I'm here. I have to, what's this bullet? Like it's just like I never bought her as Lois Lane. She just never felt like the character to me.
Okay. I wasn't. I mean, because is that more because of like the previous incarnations, or is it like what do you think influences that?
No, I just I don't think Amy Adams played the role, whether it comes down to her or the direction or the writing. It's just like she just didn't feel like the character to me. Like I didn't see, when I look at her, I don't see Lois Lane. I just see Amy Adams. I'm like, that's Amy Adams. That's not Lois Lane. That's Amy. Like she would have been a better fit as Iris West. Like not just because of the red hair. It's just like she has that journalistic nature to her, but like not like the gritty, like fuck you attitude that Lois Lane has. Iris West is like a little bit bubblier, a little bit nicer, and isn't like that like go fuck yourself, I'm doing my job kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, I just don't think she nailed it. Like, I'm not gonna act like, I mean, she's probably not the worst Lois Lane. I mean, Kate Bosworth is probably the worst. But like every other live action incarnation, she doesn't come close. Like I thought Rachel Brosnahan and Margot Kidder, hell, even Terry Hatcher was better. They all nail like the whole like hard bitten like journalistic vibe that Lois Lane is. So
Okay.
yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
just me.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep on going.
But next up, Steppenwolf.
Hey,
Very
the
cool.
IMAX version of the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was just posting about like there's two images here. You can see like with the taller IMAX aspect ratio, like he said, like the image really breathes. And uh, first of all, that design of Steppenwolf was superior in every which way to the theatrical version.
Not by much, but sure, he looks like a cheese grater. But yeah,
No, I disagree on that. But I do love like how amazing that looks in an eye. And this is like a photo of the screen. Of course, the movie was primarily meant for HBO Max, so that most people didn't get to see it in IMAX. They did do a Fathom screening or two, but I don't even know if those
I
were
can imagine
IMAX.
like Zack Snyder, like, I want this in Max, and they're like, oh yeah, HBO Max. He's like, no, IMAX. It's like defeated. Wrong Max, guys.
You're
I
too
wanted
wrong for that.
IMAX, not HBO
You're too wrong
Max.
for that. Oh my god, that is. I did not see that one coming. That's a good one. Thank you, John, for that. I would love to in like some world see that version of the movie in like an IMAX theater.
I'd be
though.
curious.
Like I really would, you know.
Maybe I won't.
Hey
fall asleep
Mochi.
this time.
But like there's elements of it, it's all moving, like all
I
the
mean,
little
I'll
pieces.
take it over the
The
theatrical.
theatrical
cut, which
version was so bad.
It was not good. It's just like, but this was just. It just looks so fucking stupid. Like it looks like a cheese grater. Like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like I
mean,
just need to
again,
grab
like,
a thing of Parmesan and just go on it like his chest. Like thanks, man. I needed some for my pasta.
The way he destroyed a lot of the Amazonians on Themyscira, you might as well be a cheese grater. Like the way, like, and literally, like his thing was like clipping arrows and shit. It was a cool design. Like again, it kind of fits with. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's some kid messing with ZBrush because there was a lot more going on in there. But like, yes, I hear you, figure drawing, what you mean by that. Yeah, IMAX all the. You know what? Good point. AR glasses is not. It's not the same though because you don't get the same auditory experience, and then you get like, do we get the same black? AR by definition is integrated with
like
this
a
environment
chud
around
chin.
you. Yeah.
You know.
All right, let's keep on going. We don't want to hang too long on the stuff here. I think
Yeah.
that's all the quickest we had though, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the big thing that's on the thumbnail that you guys are worried about. So we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about Superman, John. So today, and depending on when you're watching this, a Tuesday, there was a congressional hearing where Ted Sarandos was testifying, and a lot of questions about the Netflix buying Warner Brothers and how is that not going to create a monopoly, and just talking about like other trends in Hollywood. So he was being questioned, by senators who were there. And then Cory Booker, who's one of the senators from New Jersey, asked him a question. If you scroll down here, the controversy is, of course, that Ted Sarandos said that, Superman underperformed. Well, so if you zoom into this article for a minute, we're going to give you guys the full context, right? There's a YouTube video of this. You guys can actually, the whole thing is out there. You can watch the whole hearing. But it came down to this one particular part where Cory Booker was asking this question of addressing what will be the release window, the theatrical release window. He was like, do you commit to a 45-day theatrical release window? Now, Cosmic News is not the most reliable source on this, but the reason why we pulled it up here,
very anti-DCU bias, but this is the only one that's like kind of, we want to take it and break it down and showcase this is all for lack
Yeah.
of a better word, theatrical.
Yep.
So
Because the
let's
quotes
continue.
that they have here are directly from the hearing itself. Like we watched the video back, so I made sure that the transcription was accurate. So we're not looking at the article for its analysis of it. We just want to look at the quotes.
We're not doing that. It's just
So,
simply the quotes in text form, so you guys can see it,
Yeah.
and we don't get demonetized for showing it, because I'm sure that's probably against something.
Right. Okay. So with that, Jalen and everybody else watching, so Cory Booker was grilling Ted Sarandos or asking him about the 45-day theatrical window. He was saying, I want to ask a direct question. Will this be a fully exclusive 45-day theatrical window? Now, Sarandos' answer to that, fully exclusive to theaters, yes. Now, before we move forward, I want to provide some nuance and context to this. And because what Ted Sarandos says after it matters. In regards to because the context here matters. Over the course, since the pandemic happened, most studios have got pretty much every studio agreed to a 45-day theatrical window with the theaters. It used to be like closer to 90 days. Now it's been 45 days. But that 45 days is not like a hard and fast number. It's more of like, we will do 45 days, but if the movie's not doing really well, we could pull the movie a little bit earlier. That's part of the deals that the studios have with theaters. So that's been normal. That's been the new normal for the last few years since the pandemic happened, right? So that's not anything to do with Netflix per se directly. I mean, Netflix had a part in like changing it because, you know, everybody was watching Netflix during the pandemic and the theaters weren't open. So, you know, they indirectly had more of an effect than they did, like, because Netflix doesn't release movies in theaters mostly anyway, right? But Ted Sarandos has said they're going to do that under Warner Brothers. They'll honor the 45-day theatrical release window, which is currently the industry norm as they call it. So that's the standard. But some movies will play longer than 45 days, like Top Gun Maverick is an example. Ted Sarandos brought up an example we'll talk about in a second. But there's other movies that don't play for 45 days, like Superman played for 35 days. That was a Warner Brothers decision to put it on digital after 35 days. James Gunn, you know, said many times different things, like he wanted it to be available to people who didn't see Superman in theaters because Peacemaker season 2 was coming out and those two were connected. But then he also said, like, you don't need to have watched the movie to enjoy the Peacemaker season and vice versa. So it's like James Gunn sort of almost contradicted himself in a few times. We've talked about this before, but the theatrical window isn't a hard and fast 45 days. And so that's what Ted Sarandos was addressing, you know. So let's go down to that quote. Now, because, you know, again, the Senator Cory Booker was asking, like, is that an exclusive 45-day? So Ted Sarandos was basically saying, yes, it is exclusive to the same degree that it is an exclusive 45-day theatrical window today with all the studios, like with Warner Brothers as they operate today, as Disney, as Universal Pictures, as Lionsgate, as Paramount, you know, Sony. So Sarandos said specifically, and this is where everybody's taking it out of context and blowing it up. Ted Sarandos then went on to kind of explain what he said before by elaborating, and then I quote, "It is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely movies that underperform, the movies the window moves a little bit." And then the ellipses here is not like somebody taking out a bunch of what Ted Sarandos said before and after, or like what he said in the middle, because Ted Sarandos actually takes a pause after saying the window moves a little bit and then continues on to say, and Superman was a little shorter window and Sinners a little longer window, but they could still refer to it as a 45-day window. So he's saying, like, Superman didn't go the entire 45 days exclusively theatrical, because remember, Superman was still in theaters for weeks after it was available on digital, which was after 35 days. Sinners wasn't available on digital for a lot longer, and that was because Sinners was just kept on making money. We talked about it like very in much detail, John. We were doing it like every day. This is how much Superman made yesterday, and, you know, it's kind of dropping off. So, and again, the ellipses in the middle where he says the window moves a little bit, and Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners a little longer window. That's not like somebody chopped out a little bit of what Ted Sarandos says. If you look at the actual clip, which they have in here, and we can't play it back with audio because the way it's set up here for us, but Ted Sarandos himself, like, they didn't omit anything in this quote. That's exactly what Ted Sarandos said, word for word. Now, all of that, you know, being said, I mean, Dark Elite Eric, you know, adding a little bit with regards to the Peacemaker situation with James Gunn, that was an HBO Max show, so partly like HBO gets to control when they release it. So James Gunn sort of had to like, he doesn't get say over every bit of the release calendar for HBO, which has been the same situation for Lanterns. We've talked about that as well. So there's nuances to everything. But John, ultimately the internet was blowing this out of proportion, and like, context is needed, as Enterprising is saying. Ted Sarandos, if anything, sort of implied, because if you look at the way he says it, routinely movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit, then he pauses, and then he says, and Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners a little longer window, but they could still refer to it as a 45-day window, answering the senator's question and saying, okay, so it's not such a hard and fast number, and that's just industry practice, so we will continue in that same direction, rather than saying we're going to make it absolutely 45 days, even if the movie completely shits the bed. So obviously Comic Book News and other outlets and social media and X and everything, they've sort of blown it out of proportion. I took it as Ted Sarandos at best implied, because the wording that he uses here implies that Superman underperformed, which even if that were to be true, even if you believe that, even if that is his assessment, then he's not entirely wrong, John, because Superman, when it finished its theatrical run, was in the top 5. By the end of the year, it had dropped a few spots. Like Demon Slayer was above it. F1 beat it out. And we know that a lot of it had to do with Superman's international performance. But like Superman ultimately, if you, again, without looking at inflation, it performed, it made a little less money than Man of Steel did, however many years ago. And that's like just because that's the other close comparison. It also made, if you look at more recent examples of other James Gunn movies, Superman did make quite a bit less than like the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But that was also like the third movie in a franchise in an MCU that was, where everybody knows James Gunn never misses. So I guess 2 questions to you, John. One, where do you stand on this? Do you think Ted Sarandos and the Netflix people really do believe that Superman underperformed? And then B, if they do, then is that such a bad thing? Because, I mean, if you look at the pure numbers, theatrical alone, Superman did make less money than a lot of us were hoping for. And I mean, in some ways, not by much, but that doesn't mean it wasn't profitable, but it did underperform a little bit. Like I said, F1 beat it,
It's just, I feel like a lot of, because it's just like, it's 2 extremes. I don't think he's saying like, oh yeah, it underperformed, but he's also not saying like, okay, maybe there was a little bit of a shorter window, showcasing that maybe there was a little bit of underperformance there, but as we've said, like, oh, by that logic, it could be a million different things. So it's just, for the most part, I do think it is people taking things out of context. I mean, Cosmic Book News is notoriously known for being very anti DCU, very anti certain things that we won't get into, that they are very much known for. And so it's obvious that they would actually take this out of context, and that maybe there was a little bit of underperformance. That's, again, not the worst thing ever, but I never believed it was a $1 billion movie. My prediction was maybe higher. It was definitely higher than it, like about $100 million higher than what we got, but maybe it underperformed. Sure, fine, but like at the same time, that doesn't impede the quality. It's just gives ammunition to people that don't matter in the long run, because they're not DC fans, they're not Superman fans, they just want to spread hate. And frankly, if that's your entire existence, then you can go fuck yourself. That's all I'll really say.
That's fair. I mean, again, I think a big part of this is people taking what Ted Sarandos said out of context, right? Like, it's context, nuance is needed, because like we just tried to explain, and hopefully we were able to explain, there's more to it than just talking about what Ted Sarandos said, because it is industry standard, like what the practice of Some movies don't play for the entire, like, they will still be in theaters for over 45 days at least or more. It just won't be exclusively in theaters, and that has a lot to do with, just how well the movie did theatrically. Like for example, The Fall Guy was on Peacock like a week after it released because Universal was like, this movie's made literally no money, and we don't care to find out if it's going to have any recovery. Now that's another the whole can of worms where we talk about whether like studios make the right calls in those situations and whether they should be giving movies more of a chance to make their money. And we have talked about that at length as well in the past. But as far as Ted Sarandos referring to whether Superman, you know, ultimately was profitable or not, he wasn't talking about profitable. Underperforming versus being profitable are two different things. I think a lot of us expected Superman to make more, but that was because we were so excited. I think realistically, anywhere between 600 to 700 was probably a good number, and it did cross the $600 million mark. It was profitable. That's been confirmed. The numbers are out there. Like, and it wasn't like it was profitable by the same, anywhere close to like the margins that the first Joker movie was. It did make hundreds of million in profit just from theatrical alone, but it was ultimately, it was in the it was in the black in terms of how much money Warner Brothers spent making the movie and marketing it. It ultimately ended up making more in theatricals versus that money spent on it. And then after the theatrical, post theatrical, it did amazingly well on Blu-ray. We talked about it the other day. It was one of the highest performing selling Blu-rays of the year. It also in streaming and on digital, when people were buying it and renting it, was at the top of the charts for a while. It certainly did really well on HBO Max. So yeah, Superman ultimately, Ted Sarandos at best implied, maybe, like, then I'm sure, if they asked him a follow-up question like, can you clarify, do you consider Sinners overperformed and Superman underperformed, he wasn't asked that question. So I guess, going off of what Ted Sarandos said, at best he implied that Superman underperformed and Sinners overperformed. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now because John, I don't think there's anything else to add here other than maybe we'll just, if we keep talking about it, I feel like we'll only just, further inflame a situation where there's not much story to be had there. And if Ted Sarandos does believe that Superman underperformed, then like Figueroa is saying, James Gunn and Peter Safran and everybody and David Zaslav over at Warner Brothers know that Superman was building a new foundation for the DCU that will pay off more down the road, and that the critical reception was more important than the box office, and the fact that it still managed to be profitable along the way. Yeah, sure, it didn't make 700, $800 million, but it still was profitable and made more money than I think a lot of people expected it to. So like one of you guys were saying, Jose was saying, before Superman, we hadn't had a DC movie make over $400 million in quite some time. So it was a low bar to clear, but Superman still cleared that bar. So you guys let us know in the comments down below what you think about that. I think, so far DC is on the right track. I think John and I both agree on that, and Superman was a big part of it. And we'll see what Man of Tomorrow does, what Supergirl does this year, and as long as they go on a nice streak, that's what will matter. And yeah, speaking of Supergirl, John, we were talking about earlier in the show about how Marvel is for the most part skipping the Super Bowl. Well, it looks like Supergirl is also going to be skipping the Super Bowl. We're not going to be seeing a Supergirl trailer at the big game, and it's sort of in line with what they did with Superman a year ago. Although I think you and I were sort of talking about maybe Supergirl needs more of that rub, maybe more of that attention from the audience, the hundreds of millions of people that tune into the Super Bowl. Are you surprised that they're not going to feature a trailer at the Super Bowl?
No.
Is it just saving money, or do you think they don't? Maybe they're like, we just don't need it.
It might be saving money, but I think at the same time it's also just like, I feel like in this day and age it's just not worth it anymore, because it's just, now they know that like Super Bowl is the most watched, at least in America, the most watched sporting event ever, even more so than the World Series, because the World Series has multiple games and it's always on a different network, and soccer is not big here, even though all over the world that's definitely way fucking bigger. But I think like, posting it online and what they did in a day is how many people would probably see it in the Super Bowl commercials. So, I think that makes sense. I think it's a cost effective move. It's like for a 1 minute trailer, you're out $20 million. Fuck that. That's like half an advertising budget. Like, fuck that shit. And I think nowadays with the land of the internet, yeah, the internet's getting a little bit more, fucked up as the days go by because of like corporate greed and all that shit. It's still, at the end of the day, not necessary to like sell your movie anymore. Like maybe in like the 2000s, that's probably when the height of that was, maybe 2010s, probably pre-COVID. Like it just goes down to the brass tacks of it's always pre-COVID. Like you could like now, like spending so much money, and when you can now just release it online, leaks or non-leaks, and it'll do way better.
Yeah. I mean, and look, it's a good point. Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts, I think, had a presence at the Super Bowl last year, and they made less money than Superman. So it doesn't always translate, like you putting the money in as a studio to do a Super Bowl trailer. But speaking of what we will get from the Supergirl, as far as maybe a preview or a sneak peek, remember how last year Superman? So if you go to the next thing here, obviously we just talked about Supergirl skipping the Super Bowl. We know that Supergirl will be featured at the Puppy Bowl, kind of like what we got with Superman a year before, which, I mean, John, do you want to remind us what we got from Superman at the Puppy Bowl? Because it wasn't much.
A bullshit is what we got. We got Guy Gardner being a little silly Billy, and that was kind of it. That's all I remember, at least.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd love to see Lobo in the Puppy Bowl, because Jason Momoa's got like that puppy energy, just always hyped. So that's actually a good point, MTG. The Puppy Bowl does get as many views as the Grammys. We looked at the Grammys ratings earlier in the show, and the Puppy Bowl was fun. You know what, John? I was disappointed that all we got from Superman, the little preview, was Guy Gardner messing around with his wig and stuff, like these little bits and pieces. Even though we were expecting probably a whole trailer. The Puppy Bowl watching experience was fun, and I, through a few other people that I know, indirectly know the people who work on the Puppy Bowl, and it's a lot of work because they're having to like script out a whole game, like get all the shots they need with all these puppies who are actually like, to kind of tell the story of a game. Because there was unlike the Super Bowl, there is an actual game script for the Puppy Bowl. Believe it or not. So,
well, some conspiracy theorists will say, there is a script. It's all like the WWE. There's a script, guys. You got to follow the script, and that's pretty much like the fact that okay, I'm just gonna say this about the whole fucking NFL script thing. Like, it's so funny that like this conspiracy, like, my team didn't make it not because they suck, but because it's against the script and like all this other like conspiracy theory bullshit. The fact that the NFL went out of its way to make a commercial to make fucking fun of you because of how fucking stupid your shit sounds just goes to show that it's probably bullshit. But hey, we also didn't think rich pedophiles ran the world, but look how that turned out. So whoopsie-daisies. Anyway, did I say that out loud? I'm not suicidal, guys. By the way, just wanna mention that on camera. We have a record.
Evidence. We have a record. Yep. We'll keep an eye out. Make sure you're okay, John. We'll do like welfare check-ins just in case we don't hear from you. But you know what? Jalen was making a great point because James Gunn posted about last year how since the airing of the Puppy Bowl last year in 2025, there was a record number of puppies that were adopted because crypto was featured a lot, and so I can't wait to see what that, because like Liz called it, remember? So I can't wait to see what we get from this year because a lot of good dogs, hopefully we'll find new homes, new loving homes. The Westminster Dog Show isn't that Westminster Dog Show takes place? Is it Super Bowl weekend or is it a different time of the year? I don't know if that's.
I think it takes place after the Super Bowl, doesn't it?
Maybe it does. I mean, I'm sure they'll try to do some integrations there or do some ads, But hey, you know what? Like Enterprising was saying, crypto will shine again for the Puppy Bowl, with or without the cape, depending on what part of the movie we're talking about in Supergirl. And you know what, Hosea? Yeah, if you're a big movie studio, drop your trailer the same day as the Super Bowl, and that's what a lot of them do. In fact, most studios, they'll do like a 30-second ad spot saying full trailer online. So to watch the whole thing, you're gonna have to go online anyway. So.
And the people that pay attention to the commercials at the Super Bowl usually don't care about the Super Bowl itself. So, you know.
Right. Yeah. Although, again, let's not, kind of color with a broad stroke. But hey, you know what? The other thing is, yes, for Warner Brothers, from an expense standpoint, they won't have to spend $10 million paying for an ad spot on NBC in the US where the Super Bowl will air this year. Instead, they will just be doing some integrations with the Puppy Bowl, which is on a network that, at least for this year, because after this year they'll be spinning it off as part of Discovery Global. But as of right now, Warner Brothers Discovery does own Animal Planet, which is where the the Puppy Bowl airs. So that makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Yeah, I'd believe that.
That was the point. I think that was Yep.
Yep, I believe that.
Yep. But yeah,
But difference is your dad isn't Bruce Campbell, so.
Well, I mean, Jalen, it was $8 million for Fox last year. Every year the money goes up, so I mean, $10 million. It's following that trend. So, yeah, you know what? Figure drawing. That is an amazing idea. I do hope we get to see Lobo, and so I would love to see Jason Momoa walking around in his Lobo getup at the Super Bowl.
I'm sure that's just like. I'm sure, you know what? I'd be willing to bet money on that's just his normal wardrobe.
Yeah.
And then he just has to put the makeup on and then boom.
Just the makeup on, yeah. Because the rest of it is just Jason Momoa playing himself, right? Yeah. Indeed it is. I mean, Millie Alcock probably less likely showing up as Kara, like dressed in the Supergirl costume. But hey, you guys let us know. What do you think?
Horrible makeup according to figure drawing. Yep.
Yeah. We're still sticking with that. Okay. Okay. Well, Supergirl is gonna do the same thing as Superman did. So if you think about it this way, John, just for a moment before we finish up, they did that whole meme with Guy Gardner, like doing the whole hair thing. Guy Gardner's not in this movie. Like, who's the equivalent character? Is it gonna be Lobo? Are we gonna get to see like Lobo like posing for the camera, maybe in like a meme for the internet to love?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it all turns out. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about Supergirl skipping the Super Bowl and going right to the Puppy Bowl? So similar to what Superman did last year. Does that mean the Patriots will win the Super Bowl? I hope they do. Fingers crossed. But John doesn't seem to agree. I'm a Patriots fan, but what else would a Giants fan do? Anyway, we'll see you guys.
Just remember who has the pennant, Stan. Remember who has the pennants. Who was the MVP?
Yeah, the Patriots have 6 of them.
Twice.
The Patriots have 6 of them.
Twice.
Six beats 2.
Yeah.
6 is more than 2, John. There's that's 3 times.
Giants have 4. First off.
Okay, that's still 4. We still got 2 more. We still got 2 more.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, get the fucking number right. All right.
Well, you keep pointing to the Eli Manning stuff, and I'm like, all right. Well, in the 21st century, the Pats have 6, and you got 2. So, anyway, we'll leave the banter there, and we'll prepare for.
Well, if we had championships into it, cooked.
What, you mean like conference type championships?
Well, before the
NFL championship.
Well, before the NFL and the
existed.
AFL merged.
Oh, okay. Well, but then I have no idea if the Patriots won any AFL championships.
No, they didn't, because remember, the Patriots fucking sucked before Belichick and fucking Tom Brady fucking made that team what it is today. All right, Patriots were not even a joke team. They were a nothing team that nobody gave a fuck about. They were that much of a fucking non-issue. But then,
I mean, I could say the same about the
Tom
Giants.
Brady
the past
made
10
it what
years,
it is today.
So...
But before then, they were nothing. Nothing.
And since
nobody
Eli Manning
fucking
retired,
cared about the Patriots.
Since Eli Manning retired, that's the Giants. So, and we'll, on that note, leave it there and talk to you guys in a few minutes on Tier List Tuesday. Top 10 comic book movie opening
we had
sequences.
Like quarterbacks that were good beforehand. There was like 40 years where we were actually a good team, but
Sure.
But
like, hey, the numbers speak for themselves. it's what you got today, and to pay Pat's up more. But
What game? Nothing. I'm just gonna sit my fat ass in my room and watch something that actually matters.
well, I'm gonna go to my parents' place and we have like a watch party there. So we'll see what my mom comes up with. I'll bring some hors d'oeuvres over or something. Like I'll bring the chips and salsa, popcorn. That sounds good. All right. Well, we'll see who wins this week. You know what I like to say? No matter who wins the game, you know who gets to win at the end of the day? The fans who love for the love of the game. So hit the like button on the way out, guys, and subscribe if you're new. We're here Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and then starting on March, we'll be back to doing Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. But yeah, we're not done yet. We're done with DCU Daily, but right after DCU Daily ends, tune into Tier List Tuesday. We're going to be ranking what we think are the 10 best comic book movie opening sequences in a tier list, and we'll have a poll up for you guys, so make sure to pop in there and vote for yours. We'll put the link in the live chat and the description, so we'll see you there on Tier List Tuesday. Until then, look up, look out, or as Supergirl said to the Super Bowl, whatever.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go. Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!
But also, fuck Tom King, especially what he's doing with Wonder Woman right now, and fuck Jeff Snyder, and fuck Cosmic Book News too.
Okay.